Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering all things World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today I'm joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good, you good? Yeah, good too. A little overwhelmed with all this new audio stuff I just bought and thought I could hook up in 3 hours, but I guess it's a 7-hour deal, but hopefully everything isn't totally
Only for
scuffed.
Only a 7-hour deal for Bob. It's fine.
Maybe. But yeah, we've talked about it many times. Smooth brain. So, what are you going to do? But we're not joined by Ryan, aka Yip, this week. We're hoping to have him back next week. So stay tuned for that and reach out to him. Tell him you missed him on the show. But we are joined for the first time on the show, Joardee, big brain extraordinaire. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to meet you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We love getting new people on. It's the absolute best way, I don't know, for me to get out of echo chambers and everything, and like just having new perspectives is something we really love on this show. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Hey, Bob, Viscount says it's a little quiet.
which is what's quiet? I'm quiet? It doesn't seem like I'm quiet here. You check it, Mel?
Yeah, I'm listening. It seems fine.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It seems good.
Viscount's griefing. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Viscount does do that. He is a little bit of a troll. He's an old guildmate, so he likes to come in and have a good time. But we're happy to have him. Happy to have him. All right, all right. Well, I'd like to start the show off now by reminding you that we stream live on twitch.tv/BlazinBob. That's BLAZZINBOB. We normally do it Fridays. Follow us on Twitter to make sure you don't miss when we go live. We're going to start the show off with a couple reviews. After last week, you guys blew us up with reviews, and we appreciate it, but we're going to have to read them, no more than 3 an episode, and we have a new guest on today, so we're only going to do 2, but we will definitely read them on the show. But you guys came through awesomely, so thank you for that. But we're going to do reviews, then we're going to do what we've been doing lately in Classic WoW. Not really much raid progress, but we'll hit on one thing that was really exciting. Then we'll move on to news. There was a whole bunch of news. Classic Lich King beta. There's more PTR testing in Sunwell. Ian had an interview with Asmongold and said some interesting stuff about Classic at the very end. We'll talk about that. And there's even more news. We'll see how much of it we can get into depending on time. And then, like we always do with new guests, is at the end of the show, we're going to get an entire interview with Joardee and get to know him well. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Mel, do you want to take the first review?
Oh, sure. Well, Mr. Craig on iTunes said, honest review. Recently accidentally stumbled onto this podcast a couple days ago and I'm hooked. I'm very new to Classic, only have a level 40 warrior, but the way you guys talk about everything, go over each point of news, your personal raid progress, and issues you guys are having in game that others have also went through makes me feel like you guys are very relatable, even though you're all on a different level than me. Only issue I have with the podcast is when Yip occasionally goes on tirades looking for dungeon topic. But all in all, great podcast. Been trying to catch the stream, but haven't been able to. I'll get in there sometime. Yeah. Oh, yep.
Well, okay. And we got a few of different comments about this and different emails. Yip was not the only content creator that was extremely angry about this. So, I mean, I think you have to give a pass to everybody because it was extremely shocking across the board to everybody. So, I mean, and to be fair, this guy, thank you so much for the review, but you did say you stumbled across the podcast a couple days ago. Now, you might have binged a ton of them, but Yip doesn't normally act like that. So,
true.
I would stress to keep listening, and I think you'll find that he's a very pleasant fellow. So Don't judge by just that. But thank you so
There's a
much
couple
for the
things
review.
that push Yip's buttons, and if you get on one of those topics, you can really get him going.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so the next one comes in from Canada. Can't get enough. Good day. I can't, and I repeat, I can't get enough of the cast. The dynamic between everyone and the amazing humor is literally the best. I feel like I'm in the room while I'm listening to the cast. I drive 8 hours a day for work, and you guys keep me entertained to the fullest. I look forward to the latest episode every week. I know you guys are purely classic, but thoughts on the new Dragonflight expansion? I personally can't wait to explore the new zones and the new story.
First of all, I'm very excited that, we forgot to tell Joardee that we're an 8-hour podcast. That's why he keeps himself entertained every day. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I have zero thoughts on Dragonflight expansion. I don't know. Dragons are cool. Do you get to fly dragons?
It's a whole new flying mechanic. It's basically like it takes into account drop and like lift, and like you have to like flap the wings to actually lift up, and you dive down. It's kind of like what flying.
Sounds like a lot of work. Do I turn into a dragon?
Well, you can be a dragon. There's like a new species or whatever that you can be, but and you turn into a dragon.
Game of Thrones.
There's a new
humanoid dragon.
It's like a new race and class combined whole thing.
Okay.
But the dragon flying is different from actual flying. Like it's a new thing. A lot of people say it's ripped straight from Guild Wars 2. I don't know that, but I did see a couple different things. But it looks cool to me. I'll definitely be checking that out in beta, specifically the dragon flight part. But as far if you've listened to the show, you should know me and know there's almost no possible way of me ever going back to retail. There's too much. It's too bloated for me, and it's a game for other people, just like Call of Duty and games like that. Classic is my jam. But I don't know, Joardee, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. That ship has sailed, I think, for me. So
I feel like I've been away too long, right? Like going back now, it's like weird. It's awkward.
It's just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
I like the warm hearth of Classic.
Yeah, same.
Agreed.
Same.
And I have issues with like I don't like being the hero that saves the universe so much. I want to be just like a little guy running around doing little quests, you know what I mean? And then I get to rub shoulders occasionally with the heroes, but when the whole world is on your shoulders every quest, it feels
a little much.
Yeah.
It's too grand. I don't feel like part of a world. I feel like the whole game is built around me, and that's not something I necessarily vibe.
I mean, it's something I vibe with in single player games. I definitely vibe with it there. It's just I don't really vibe with it in MMO games. I feel like I want to be a cog on the wall type of deal.
Yeah, when you can.
There's no cogs on walls, just so you know.
A pin on the wall. I don't know. I don't know what I was trying to say. But yeah, I am with you there. I've never really actually thought about it like that, but I definitely feel the same way. Huh.
Yeah, my normal job is some form of storytelling, and so I definitely something that I pay attention to. And
cool, yeah. And I've
just an FYI, it says we're playing Overwatch 2. That's not
let's
a
go.
Let's
go.
No.
I'll be Reaper.
I could fix that really quick.
Have you tried Overwatch 2, Joardee?
I haven't, no, but I have a lot of friends who are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been playing a bunch.
I played one. Yeah, it just looks like I don't know. I don't think they deserved a 2 on there. Maybe 0.5.
Yeah, agreed.
A lot's changed though. I mean, it is very
we're
different.
Still on Warcraft. Like, we're still on World of Warcraft, and look at how much has changed. Like, how are we differentiating Overwatch and Overwatch 2. This is an expansion. This is not like a new game.
I'm ready for Overwatch Classic. If I'm being honest.
Dude,
Where you
that
can be all
actually
the same heroes.
Yeah, you
Just
got
kidding.
Twinston, Tushio, and Trey.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
2 Winstons, 2 Lucios, and two Tracers, and you just win. All right, but this is not an Overwatch podcast.
Definitely not.
What have you guys been doing lately in WoW? Want to let the guests go first?
Yeah.
We've been doing a whole lot of PTR. We did every day. We PTR'd. My guild is we are generally more on the competitive side, so we're pushing for speed runs and world firsts and stuff. So when the PTR comes out, it's all hands all day. So we've been on that a lot. And speed running Black Temple, that has been a lot of what we're doing, but we've had a couple epic fails lately, so we're hoping to finally get that run that we're hoping.
Okay, what's your fastest Black Temple run?
I think our fastest run is like an hour 2.
Okay.
The goal is sub-hour, and then I think we put it on the shelf and say we did it. In phase 2, we were like, I think we were 4th fastest SSC and 5th fastest TK, and so we want to get back to that. But the guilds this phase are really pumping fast Black Temples, and I don't know if we're gonna. The fastest I think is like
epic fail that you guys have had.
There are some good ones. You know that intersection coming out of Supremus when there's demons on both sides and there's the patrols, and then you're heading towards Akama. You can just accidentally pull that entire thing if you're not. And when you're going quickly, people are aggressive, and we've definitely done that a couple times.
Little Warlock tab Shadow Bolt in the wrong direction sometimes, yeah.
I wouldn't say that. That's pretty egregious. But you know those Pat's Fear, and there's been some bad ticks tremors, and occasionally the Pally tank dies, and he's got everything on him, and you're only 2 tanking in speed runs, and so there's not a whole lot of what's the insurance if so.
Real quick before we go on, you might want to adjust your noise gate just like a little bit.
Is it cutting out?
Yeah, just like a little bit.
I'll just speak a little bit closer.
I mean, you could
like
you could change it 5. You changed it 10 or whatever. You can change it 5 back or something like that. I don't want you to have to be eating the mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's good. Okay, that's down 5, so we should be better.
Cool.
Yeah, that works.
Sorry.
So, Mel, what have you been doing?
Mel, what have I been doing? I raided. Shocking. Only one day to this time. I didn't do ZA. I was really tired this week. I think after going to Comic-Con last week and then working all week, it was just like I never caught up. I even took an extra day off to like relax and like rejuvenate for Tuesday, and it did not work, FYI. So I worked a lot and rated on Tuesday, and I think that's all I played.
Well, the thing is that basically we went to Planet Comic-Con like right after recording the last episode. We recorded early, and then we went to Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City for 3 days straight. We stayed out there. Stayed up till like 4 a.m. every night, got up at like 9 to hit the con, and basically just like destroyed ourselves. So we got back Monday and we were half dead. I mean, but we had a blast. I mean, we got to meet Ralph Macchio and a whole bunch of other people. We got a professional picture with Ralph Macchio, and it's the funniest thing in the world because we shouldn't have done it. Yeah, I've done these things before and they're really cool. But because of the COVID stuff and everything, we come in to get our professional picture taken, and there's this like screen in between us, like a
plastic wall.
Yeah. And so like we're standing right next to him, but when we get the picture, the plastic wall makes it look like we totally photoshopped him in.
Yeah, we just like photoshopped him in, like, and didn't do it exactly right? Like,
Yeah, there's just
it
this
was pretty
like
bad.
clip, and it's like, are you really there with him, or did you just Photoshop that in there?
You
It's
gotta post that somewhere.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But we got to meet a bunch of different stars. We're
Hence how bad we are
staying.
at Twitter that we haven't posted it on Twitter. You know,
I know exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, that's prime Twitter bait for sure.
Yeah,
I
right?
did like okay, and did like 3 posts on Twitter our first night, and then just didn't do anything else after that. I was just like,
Yeah. I do not live up to the female stereotype of taking pictures. I'm literally the worst. So that's fine. But we met all the what is it? Heroes of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow.
Cast, a bunch of the cast. Yeah.
There was a bunch of them there. That was fun. We all stayed in the same hotel, so we'd like see them like getting coffee and all that stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was great because what's her name? Oh my gosh, what is her name? I forget her name every time. Jess McCollin or something. She's the girl that plays Ava. She's the girl that plays Ava on Legends of Tomorrow. But she was so refreshing because I'm sitting there waiting in line next to her, getting coffee, and she stops 3 cosplayers walking by, and she's like, "Hey, can I just get a picture of you really quick?" Oh, it's so great. And she was so into it. I was like, dude, that's refreshing, because oftentimes, you know, stars are kind of like, you meet them and you're like, oh, wow, you're kind of a dick. But like, she was so refreshing, and how excited she was. And she was getting them to do different voice lines and stuff. It was great.
Oh, we also went and saw, who else was there? Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Nice.
Who's surprisingly funny. Like,
yeah, he was funnier than I really ever anticipated.
Very Ryan Reynolds-esque. Like, very funny.
Have you guys seen the pilot of that lately?
No.
It's atrocious. You should check it out. It's on Netflix.
Yeah. I don't know if I want
all.
to. Yeah. I feel like my memories of Saved by the Bell are good. And
they're
I'm gonna ruin
children.
that.
It's like children. It's kind of shocking.
It's weird.
But
yeah, he had said that like the show didn't actually go big until syndication, because before it was only on Saturday mornings, and it wasn't that big. And then when they did syndication, it just blew up. Like, and that's when like there was a guy in the crowd that I guess had went to a Worlds of Fun luncheon thing with the cast. Like, there was a whole bunch of people that got to go.
No, it was
Kansas
like a
City.
Dating game, like
fundraiser,
right?
Yeah, they did a dating game
fundraiser, and this is hilarious because he's telling him, he's like, in '92 you were here last, and he was like, oh, was I? Okay, and he's like telling him about this dating game, and everybody's sitting there thinking, and he goes, yeah, we could never do that nowadays. You know, that would not fly. And he's telling him everything that happened. And he just has no idea. He's like, I have no recollection of this. This is not anything that I ever remember doing.
It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah,
that was it.
We did that. That was wild. And then we got back, and then, you know, Monday night we couldn't do anything. And then Tuesday, Overwatch 2 beta hits, and we get in immediately, and we're playing a ton of that. So we went to Raid, but then outside of that, we've just been playing that pretty hard at the moment.
Nice.
So we're still,
By we, he means he. I played the first night and then was like, maybe not.
Well, she'll be back.
They like nerfed healers. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I feel like I've got my mercy beam on somebody for like 20 minutes before they get to full health. It's not good.
Well, it's
still beta. It's got some time.
Yeah, there's a lot of kinks to work out. But yeah, so I haven't really done a ton. I've done, you know, just my daily stuff, jumping in really quick and making sure auction house stuff is all good. But I'll be back hardcore again. It's just I got to get my Overwatch 2 fix here, and all my old friends are coming up and be like, let's play. And it's been a good time, but definitely just on a short break from Classic. And this is the time to do it when, you know, I'm waiting for Sunwell to come out, because we don't really PTR much. So But
Yeah, good lucky you.
yeah, well,
Oh
that's
man.
what you're doing God's work for us. You guys are going to put out videos and everything else. It's going to help us get through. Bricks, I'm waiting on more. So
Yeah, I think I'll be doing boss guides here soon. I did I just started doing content lately, so we'll see how it goes. I'm still learning and editing, and I got to figure out how to make motion graphics and all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
All the fun
that's the
stuff.
plan. Yeah, we did a loot prio video a few days ago, so that got a lot of people mad at me. So I'm feeling like I'm in the internet finally. There we go.
yeah, well,
Yeah, people hate
Yeah.
you. You've made
Yeah.
it.
yep.
Yeah, they are mad. So
It's
YouTube
so funny.
is very unforgiving.
Yeah, it's
right?
crazy
Yeah.
Like our
because
podcast listeners are very nice. Our YouTube comments are less nice.
it's crazy because we're huge in the the audio podcast world,
sure.
and we get so much love, and then we're just starting to barely get 1,000 on YouTube, and people are coming out of the woodwork with like lots of anger
Serious
and
hate.
yeah, serious hate. And so it's like, okay, well, this is a different experience right here, but you know what, they're allowed to have their opinions.
I think sometimes negative feedback can be good, as long as it's constructive.
Yeah, it's the
So-
ones that aren't constructive that you're just like, okay,
Well, you just ignore them.
that's
Well,
fine.
I remember there was one on YouTube, and the guy's like, this podcast is great except for when Bob interrupts for some stupid comment that didn't need to be said. He does it 5 to 6 times in an episode. So I wrote back, I was like, well, can you point out the timestamp of when I did this so I could maybe improve on it? No reply, nothing. I was like, well, that doesn't help me, man. I don't know which dumb comment. So
People are dicks.
it's been weird, but I mean, it's cool. Like, I've pretty thick skin growing up with a stutter, so not a whole lot that really rattles me. But yeah, so for our raid progress, we did do another week of a full night, 3-hour clear of BT and Hyjal. So
Nice.
So we've worked towards a long time. Like, we're kind of like, people describe us sweaty
It's our speed
casual.
run.
Yeah, we're not casual, but we're definitely not hardcore. Like, we were a guild that killed KT and Vash weeks before the nerf, but we're not a guild that was, it took us, I think Vash took us like 25
Lots
attempts.
of wipes.
And KT was like 9 attempts or something like that. But like, those attempts take a long time. We only raid 3 hours, 2 days a week. So
the first 2 hours are just clearing to the boss. So you sure it's
yeah. But yeah, so we were happy about that. We did get another glaive. We got a main hand glaive.
Fuck you.
We've gotten 2 main hands and 2 off hands. So like,
it's nice. Must be nice.
We've gotten one 3 weeks in a row, though.
Yeah, it's been good as of late. It wasn't good to begin with. Like, we killed Illidan the second week. We didn't kill him the first week.
4.
4 total, 2 main hands and 2 off hands. But it's hilarious because
and you just have the one raid.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate you.
This is what we used to say to people too before we saw him drop. But we've got IDDQD has both of them, because we have a rule that if you spend the DKP, you get on either of them. That's just the price of both of them.
Yeah.
So the second rogue.
Well, it'd be silly to have like 2 people with main hands and 2 other people with off hands. Like, come on.
Yeah. So the other rogue got an offhand, but then got banned for saying somebody in chat, and so it dropped. So the main hand dropped when he wasn't there.
Let's not be crazy.
Yeah, it was like, dude, this is your own fault here, dude. But so
yeah, I hope he learned after that.
Oh well, yeah.
So he wasn't at the raid last week where the main hand dropped.
Well, I hope he learned then when it dropped and he wasn't there.
He was watching and not great.
That went to our guild leader and he's a warrior. So I'm excited to
Nice.
see him pump this
Yeah.
this coming week. I've not got to see that yet, and I'm pretty excited for that. But yeah, that was our raid. Was there anything weird that happened in our raid? I don't think so. I mean, it's pretty much standard for what we've talked about before. I don't think anything crazy happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think we only had 4 healers at the beginning of the night, which was fine, really. But we did. What's the first one we do?
Nagentis
No, like the first
or
raid.
Hyjal.
Oh.
Hyjal.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really bad with names, guys.
I don't know boss names, but I know raid names at least.
Okay, I usually do, kind of. But we didn't do the part of the first Hyjal where you go up and fight the, like, mobs that come in at the, like, in front of the gate. We didn't do that because we only had 4 healers.
Have you done that?
But we didn't.
Have you done that,
Yeah, they
Joardee?
speed run. I'm sure they go up.
So,
Oh yeah, that's every week. Yeah,
Okay.
at the spawn. Mm-hmm.
How many healers do you run with usually?
We run with 5 or 6 depending on the raid. The goal is 3 resto shamans. Or no, 2 resto shamans and then 1 of each other. So
Yeah, we usually have 5.
5 is a
But-
good number. 5 you're not bored as a healer.
Yeah,
6 you get a little bored.
especially in Hyjal.
Yeah,
Hyjal's
Hyjal
real
sucks.
boring with
Everybody
6
wants to get out of
healers.
Hyjal. It sucks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, come
I'm
on.
just at this point in TBC, I'm a lock, and I have to stand up now for raids because I'm like falling
Yeah, I don't know
asleep,
how you
hitting
do
one
it.
button. Like I'm just
Yeah,
like,
man. It's
ugh.
awful.
Yeah, and it's
At least in Hyjal you get to seed a little bit.
yeah, but that's
but-
still one button. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's still one
Yeah.
button. I mean, yeah, you see big numbers, but it's hard to feel good about it, you know?
I feel like I do a
Well,
lot of circle of healing, but it's like very satisfying circle of healing.
Holy
right?
Priest feels amazing. It always
Yeah.
feels good.
You got
You're
some
the
shields.
you're the
for
priest topping the
mending.
meters. Yeah,
Yeah.
plum, and it's great. I would say try to bottle your boredom now so that when you hit Sunwell, you can let it wash over you occasionally because it's going to be a nightmare for some of the guilds. So yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy low key rating right now.
Yeah.
It's going to get hard.
Yeah. I feel like
Enjoy
it's good.
parsing right now too.
Yeah.
Sure,
I
yeah.
feel like our guild does a good job of, like, the initial content is usually, not difficult, but fairly difficult, right? And then we get it on farm, and then we do have a little bit of time before the next patch comes out that we're like, okay, so you don't have to raid constantly all the time and then go into another new patch. It gives us a little bit of a break. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and then with Sunwell, I think it'll be a shorter situation than it is for BT, and we'll just be right in the Wrath, which will be a blast. So
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I can't wait. All right, so that being said, let's move into the news. So first up in the news this week, I wanted to let everybody know that might not know, and the link will be in the description, but you can sign up for the Wrath of the Lich King Classic beta right now. I should have said it last week. I forgot to throw it in because it was there last week also. But if you go to the official site is actually wowclassic.blizzard.com, and that'll get you right there to where you can opt in to the beta, and you probably want to do that sooner rather than later, because the next bit of news is that they've already seen the beta in the launcher with what do you call it? Data. What do you call that? Data. Where they pull the data? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about though. But it's like it has been seen. It is in the launcher now. So
Data mining.
Data mining. Thank you. So it's
Gosh, I walk away
probably
for 2 seconds.
it's probably coming very soon. So definitely sign up for that soon. Are you going to be playing a lot of that, Joardee? A lot of the.
Oh yeah. We've been doing some off the record gaming in preparation, and then I think the beta will go ham. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go ham.
Frozen ham.
I don't know if I'll raid a ton in the beta, but yeah, I'll probably be doing quite a bit of testing of different things. Besides that, just like I did at TBC, I'll probably be leveling just to kind of get a route going for day one and everything. But
I just like to level, so I'll try it out.
Yeah,
I think leveling. What server are you guys on?
We were on white. We were Alliance on white main, but then white main slowly died, and we were one of the final people to say we're leaving. So a few weeks back, we moved to Benediction.
That's where we are too. Yeah. It's gonna be a nightmare, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
You know what's gonna be the worst, guys, is leveling with that many Alliance. You can't even kill them when they take your mobs, right?
Yeah, no.
Like that's the worst. It's like at least when a horde takes your mob, you're like, oh, I'm gonna murder you, and then I'm gonna take it back, right? Or I'm gonna make you pay for taking my mob. Like now, there's like no consequence. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it's gonna be really rough. But
yeah, and with no random dungeon finder, you can't just like dungeon grind all the way to 80. You'd have to go and park your ass in there.
Travel to the dungeons.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where any of the dungeons are in Wrath. I think it's like I know I did them leading up, but I think everybody always summoned me or something, and then random dungeon finder was in, and I don't think I know where. I definitely don't know where any in Cataclysm are.
I think that's one of the points of no random dungeon finder, right? Is like the world starts to become less connected and becomes just disparate rooms that you're hanging out in. And that's less fun, I think. And so I kind of like the idea of no dungeon finder, but I also don't. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it.
See, I'm with you, and I've been getting my head bit off because I'm like, I don't agree that it's the bee's knees best thing ever. I want it, but I'm like a 70-30, maybe 60-40 even type of deal on it. I want it with like tweaks, and like I just don't see how people get so mad at me when I'm like, but I don't like this aspect of it. Like I want it to be like your server, or your server, at least it tries to do that first, and then we'll branch out, after a few minutes or something like that. Like, and I'd like to travel to the dungeon. I think you'll get kicked less if people have to go outside to summon the person that they kicked you for, like, or wait for them to get there. Like, I don't know. Like, I just
honestly, at this point, there's so much controversy over it. I'm just like, do it or don't do it. Like, whatever.
It's a polarizing thing.
The amount of people that are like, I'm going to quit if it goes one way or the other. I'm like, really? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and
you're
it's
still
like,
going to play the game. Let's be real. Like, your idle threats are not helpful.
It reminds me of trying to talk politics or religion with somebody who really feels strongly about it. Like, you can say, I like your idea, but what if we turned it on this edge? Like, no, what are you talking about? Shut up. Like, they're just mad. I'm just like, okay, well, that was what to just have.
Yeah, most people have made up their mind and they don't want to listen to arguments about it at this point. And I'm just like, okay, I don't care. I'm over it.
I'll be good whether it's in or not. I know like people who play much more casually and don't have access to getting into groups, it's going to be definitely rougher on them, but I think it's probably going to be in. It's just might have a little bit of tweaks, but
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But the internet has talked that to death, so like I wasn't really looking to talk about it.
Sorry, I brought it up.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just like, I said my piece on Scotty J's podcast, on our podcast last week, and everybody's talking about it.
And we kind of reappeared to bait into getting really angry about it, so it's definitely not as fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be there. I love Scotty J's approach at, instead of complaining about it, he's like, how can we get this in, guys? What compromises can we do
Mm.
to make this happen? You know, and I love that approach because I feel like that approach is going to get you the most results from Blizzard. I know people say like
Listen,
Blizzard's not listening, but I don't know. I mean, they might.
yeah. I grew up with my boss and mentor who taught me that I can come into her office and say, you have 5 minutes to bitch and 55 minutes to problem solve. Go. And I was like, okay, here we go.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like if you try to solve the problem, that's going to help a lot more than just being
Well,
like.
and it
"This
actually
is
helps you
absurd."
understand the problem too, right? Like if you're trying to problem solve, it helps you understand what the actual problem is and not so much just why it annoys you. So,
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, so sign up for that. I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be a thing where they're going to be running it during Sunwell because they're not going to want to run the beta during the pre-patch, is my guess. So
For sure.
definitely sign up, and we hope to see you all in there. The links will be in the show notes. All right, so this next bit of news is, it was funny because I wasn't sure the way they worded it when we read last week is we've closed our testing for Sunwell. I was like, does that mean it's not, that's it? Like I thought, I was like, well, that seemed quick, but we figured there'd be other chances to test. I've only been in there once, Joardee, and it was bad. I went in with the day it dropped, I was like, well, I gotta go check it out. And everybody was playing the new private server. I went to everybody's stream, was like, hey, you gonna do Sunwell? Like, nope. Been planning on doing this, been planning on doing this. I was like, oh, damn it. So I got to Stay Safe, and I was like, oh, Stay Safe is gonna do it. He's like, all right, we're gonna do a chat group. And I was like, all right, I'll join. And I joined and immediately regretted my choice. Cause like, I didn't have anything set up. I didn't have like anything, and he's trying to go fast. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go in. It's like all I really need is Seed Shadowbolt, right? Well, this was bad. So I'm interested to hear a little bit about what you've seen going into Sunwell PTR testing.
I made a little how-to to set up your PTR character if you want it. It's pretty nice if you need help next time if you're interested.
Is that on your channel?
It's in my Discord. I can link it to you in the chat if you want that. But
awesome.
we can do it later.
Definitely. You should put that on YouTube because like I feel like that's something people would reference constantly.
It's not a bad idea.
Because like every time I do it for anything, I look up a guide, and so they get like 7 hits out of me over the course of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just a Word document. It's step by step. It lays out exactly. If you follow it exactly, you'll get it perfect.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the question? Sunwell?
Yeah. So
PTR.
Yeah. What's it been like? Because like I had to leave to do the podcast that night, so I only got to do it for about 2 hours, and we couldn't get through the trash in the first room. Like we got through it. We were through the first trash in like the first set of rooms, about to hit the boss, but I had to go. Yeah. But we died like it was a good 35 times.
Those scouts are rowdy for sure, running to the robots and stuff.
Yeah.
And they run it like too, like come on,
crazy speed too.
Yeah. No, we were in there pretty much every day. Some days we did 2 full clears. We have 6 raid teams with like 150 total raiders, and the goal is to get everybody to week 1 clear. So we had a lot of teaching to do over the course of the PTR, and so we were in there a lot, and it was
you're just exactly like us, like that's exactly how we do it. I totally understand.
We have like 6 people in the entire raid that understand the fights, and you've got 6 raid teams.
I like to say that my GM is he's actually playing Guild Manager Simulator while the rest of us are playing World of Warcraft. So it's a lot. But it was a blast, man. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait for everybody to get in there. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to be hard for some of the guilds that aren't able, like the guilds that weren't able to get Vosh and KT down pre-nerf. That's going to be hard for them in there.
I like how I feel like he was trying to single out guilds that weren't what we did, right? We made it very clear that we got them down.
You guys got it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but like there was like, I looked at it at the nerfs, and at the nerfs, 50% of guilds had not killed both of them. Like, so it was nuts.
Vosh was hard. I did like a first impressions video that kind of goes over my thoughts, but I think if BT and Mount High Jaw were a 5 and like Vosh and KT pre-nerf were a 7, I'd say Sunwell's probably like a 9. Okay. It was hard. It'll get easier as you get gear, and that'll help a lot because a lot of the fights are DPS checks or healing checks or tank checks, and like the gear delta will make those little things easier for people, because we were just going in BT gear and stuff, so they were a little bit extra hard, and the Sunwell gear is like a lot better than what we've got, and that'll make a huge difference. Like some pieces are like straight up 100 DPS upgrades by themselves, and so that'll affect your rate a lot. But
I feel like Vosh and KT were even harder because most of the good gear was on Vosh and KT. Like most of the good upgraded gear, like the major pieces were on Vosh and KT. So to get them down, like you had to get a bunch of the other upgrades if you were struggling with DPS or healing or something, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case this time for sure. Like Felmist drops the single largest DPS upgrade in the game for physical classes, Leggings of Immortal Night, which you'll end up hearing a lot about as your raid rages when they're not getting it.
Did you see any drop in PTR?
You have a few, yeah. Which is always exciting.
To see any in the regular.
Yeah.
You saw them all.
We didn't see any Thoradals though, so that's a good sign.
Did you see glaives in PTR?
We did see a glaive on the PTR in phase 3, yeah. And now we don't get any glaives. So we have one completed set on a rogue. But like we have just a bunch of random 1s and 0s all over the place.
6 raids and only one full set?
That's why I said fuck you, man.
Wow.
It's been rough.
I can feel it now. Yeah. It's totally
wow, that is crazy. Holy crap.
Yeah, we gotten really unlucky. But yeah, Sun was really fun and hard, and the trash is hard. The nice thing about the trash is once you understand how to pull it, it's not so bad. I think it's just that first 10 to 15 seconds of each pull, you need to know exactly how to do it. And then you'll be like, oh, this isn't so bad. And it's all front loaded. After Calicos, there's almost no trash in the entire instance. So
you're speaking nice, my language like right now.
People are fresher at the beginning of a raid. Totally. Right. And towards the end, if there's a lot of hard trash, it's like, okay.
Yeah. And then you can trash farm a lot, right? Because the instance is like a fresh, I don't know if you guys do that, but a fresh instance, you can go in on a Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever and farm that trash a lot and reset. And then there's just a whole lot of it before Calico. So
yeah, we've done that a lot. We did the whole, we were stopping at Mother for a long time to allow us warlocks to like solo do trash, and then sometimes we do like 5-man trash where we could take a lot of that
good
trash.
Job. Yeah, good, nice. We never did that. We a lot of us wanted to, but we were just like, do we just do a full clear in one day, or do we extend this? And we decided the full clear, and being dads was more important. So
yeah, well, the one thing
let's be honest, we weren't full clearing in one day anyways, so we just chose to do Hydel and then BT to Mother instead of doing all of BT.
All right, that helps then. Okay.
Yeah, well, and we were super excited about it in the beginning until we found out that there's only one raid instance. So we thought all the locks could like solo on their own, which would have been huge, but turned out you only could have one. So if anybody else came, you just kind of had to share with the other person, you know, and
Sure.
but the solo thing was a pain in the butt. So I
did a little bit
for
of
8
it.
hours and it was rough.
Oof. Did you get a ring?
I did get a ring. I got a lot of jewels, a lot of
Nice.
like a lot
Nice.
of those things.
It was worth then.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. We ended up getting each of the locks because we would share to different times. We ended up getting each of the locks a ring doing that.
Very
And
nice.
other people would come that couldn't really do it and they just kind of chill. And we've got like a couple healer rings for different people, and we had a lot of rings doing it.
Why did you log me in and take me in there like Mordon?
I did
just put me at
many
the beginning
times.
of the instance.
Yeah,
You did
when you were out of town. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Plus, your fort
You didn't give me
buff
anything apparently.
would help me not die.
Oh, I
got
see.
hit
I see.
once.
So you were using me. You weren't necessarily getting me a
Well,
benefit.
and you were
I
there to
understand
res,
now.
which was faster than walking back too. Because like I did, the pull on that solo pulls is the hardest part. Like doing the rest of it, kiting was the easier part. The pull was a bitch. Once I got it down, I could do it almost 100%, but it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, waiting for that specific pat. And
Yeah, I found a way to pull all 4 of the one dudes that you could pull. So, but it took a lot of trial and error and a lot of deaths.
yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were talking about Sunwell. So I'm curious if I haven't seen any posts, but I don't know if you might know. Originally in TBC, when it came out, you didn't have access to all Sunwell bosses. It started out with like 3, and then you got 2 more, and then 2 more, I believe. And they opened up along with the dailies on the Isle of Quel de Nas, and you could only really go up a rank at server restart. So I'm wondering if you've heard anything or what your guesses might be on if they're going to do that the same this time or just give it to us all at once.
I think it's independent of the dailies, actually.
Is it? Was there something else you had to do to unlock them?
No, I think it was just time gated.
Oh.
I could be wrong, but that's what I think we looked into. But the I have a feeling they're going to gate it. A lot of people are saying it doesn't make sense to gate it this time because of the abbreviated release window, that they're likely going to be dropping Wrath sooner than they would have. There's really no way to know until they say something. Personally, I hope they don't. I think for guilds that didn't get a lot of time on the PTR, if they gate it, it's going to be better for them health wise because there's a lot less content to try to get through, and people won't get mad if you can't full clear because you'd only have to do the first 3 the first couple weeks. But
I feel like those types of guilds are expecting to only have to do the first few bosses, even if it was all open, right? I feel like you're punishing the guilds that have worked hard to be able to do all of the content, but the only way that I see them keeping that in is the excuse that that's the way it was before, right?
Which is an excuse that they've used in the past, right? So I don't know if we necessarily...
It's very like they just use it when they want to use it type of deal.
Hashtag some changes.
Right. Like, let's be honest. The reason it didn't all drop at the same time in like regular TBC was probably because they didn't have them done. Right. Like, let's not joke around like, hey, we want to release half of a dungeon. No, it was like, hey, this expansion needs to launch. Okay, well, we have 3 bosses done. Let's just do 3 bosses and then say it was our intention to put out the next couple.
Because I could be wrong.
I bet you that's right.
Yes, Sunwell was pretty long back in the day.
Have they ever had a dungeon prior to this that they did not release the entire thing?
Well, they gate stuff now in retail.
Right, but prior, right? We're talking like original. Like everything in vanilla came out all at once.
Molten Core, you could maybe argue that the DAO's mechanic
gated,
was kind of gated.
Yeah, that's true.
But you could douse at the beginning, right?
If you had people going in there killing trash, like that was the strategy for the day 1 Molten Core kills. They had people who had to go in there and kill trash to get their Hydraxian warlords rep up to have enough douses. People, I don't think, did that though in the beginning.
Well, because nobody was full clearing day one anyway, so everybody's getting enough rep before they were even ready to have to do that, right? Like,
that's all. That I didn't even think about that either. I couldn't think of any that were gated like that. I mean, AQ was gated to get into the instance, I guess.
Right. There's been a lot of things where it's like, you can't do this until this time, or you can't do this until you have this, or you can't do this without this reputation. But there's never been, here's Sunwell, first 3 bosses. Like, we've never even had a raid with only 3 bosses. Okay. Like Ahn'Qiraj and all of those. Okay. But that's one boss, like a specific thing, right? And there was no adding to Ahn'Qiraj. It was just Ahn'Qiraj, right? And I don't know. I just feel like initially it was probably done that way for reasons that they didn't have it done.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think that, granted, there's no way to know, but I imagine that they were like busy with Wrath and they were like, oh shit, we need some content to fill this window.
Right. Like, we're not going to get Wrath out.
Yeah, they're like, Wrath is probably bigger than we thought it was. We're going to delay it a little bit. Let's do something. And then they were like, okay, let's cobble this together as fast as we can. Granted, it's a really great raid and they did a really good job, but it kind of feels less put together than Black Temple does. Black Temple is like this whole thing, you know what I mean? And also, like, you go into TBC and Illidan seems like the final boss, right? He's the key art, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, Kil'jaeden is, I guess, also the last boss. Sure.
Just kidding. There's this other guy. He's pretty bad too. Let's get him.
Dude,
it doesn't quite make sense.
I've said that so many times. Everybody's like, no. I'm like, I think they thought that he was going to be the last boss when they released TBC, and then they were like, make something real quick.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
Listen, that's why there's no trash at the end of Sunwell, right? Like, there's very minimal trash. They were like all on Wrath, and they're like, yeah, let's just get through this. Come on, let's get people going.
There's about 3 minutes of trash between Eredar twins and Muru, and literally 2 mobs between Muru and Kil'jaeden.
You just look at the Isle of Quell Danas, and you think to yourself, this is all reused assets throughout the entire dailies.
Yeah.
So,
and not to like lessen the whole thing, I think that like what they ended up with is pretty cool. Like, the idea of that island is cool. Magister's Terrace is pretty cool. Getting to re-kill Kael'thas again is kind of cool. That whole, like, I remember having a blast on that island as a kid, but like looking at it now, you're just kind of like, this feels tacked on. That's
looking at the full picture.
I'm glad you
now.
say that, because I've said that multiple times, like on this podcast, and everybody's like, no, I don't think so. It was always going to be Kil'jaeden. Like, okay,
no,
well,
there's no way.
It's like, you were not prepared down the box.
But like, if you think about Wrath too, that's the same thing. Like, you kill Arthas, it ends. And then there's a random dragon patch, like the Ruby Sanctum, that they were like, "Oh shit, Kata's not out yet. Let's do another."
These are their filler patches, right?
So
in the interview, totally, he mentioned it. They were like, "Don't forget." Yeah,
he's like, yeah, and then you go to the final boss, the Lich King, and blah blah blah. And he goes, "Oh wait, nope, not the final boss.
Yeah,
can't forget about those." It was just like,
props to him for remembering that, though.
Right.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But all right, well, on the last part I wanted to talk about, you recently went on the Classic Life podcast. It's Sarth and Crix's podcast. It's awesome, guys. You should definitely check it out. I will have links in the show notes. But we're not going to talk about everything you talked about there, because they went through strategies and everything. You should definitely check out their talk about strategies on the different bosses. But I do want to specifically talk about the comp that you came up with.
Yes.
Because I think it's going to throw a lot of people through a loop. And the first thing that you see in the comp is 7 healers.
Yeah. I have a command in my Twitch. It's !healers, and it's just me screaming at you, telling you to bring 7 healers. You're gonna want 7 healers. I promise you.
And
I promise you.
Everybody's been running with 5 for so long. Hopefully you have some leeway in your raid, because what it looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, and sorry for the audio listeners, we do have the comp up on screen here on the live and YouTube version, but we'll try to walk you through it and tell you exactly. But it looks like you've
Can I ask a
basically...
question?
Yeah.
You can finish your thought, Bob.
Oh, no, I know what question you're going to ask. Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead and guess.
Should the Holy Priest always be in the Shadow Priest group?
Yeah, that's my question.
I know it's
Was
your
that
question.
really your question?
Oh, yeah, because she fights for
I'm
it.
the Holy Priest in the Shadow Priest group, because
She fights for it weekly.
you guys, I can't even tell you. I was not in a Shadow Priest group forever, and then all of a sudden, like, something happened and we lost somebody, and Harscar was like, yeah, we'll put Mel over there. And I was like, why am I not running out of mana ever?
Yeah,
and then
it's
I was
nice,
like,
right?
I was like, oh,
It's like a warm blanket. It's really nice.
And then like
Yeah.
a mage came back and I got moved out, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. I was
I
like,
have
I
to
wish you
mana pot
never
again?
showed me
Fuck.
what I was missing. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
even know. And now it's just like, I'm out of mana. I'm out of mana all the time. It's awful. Yeah, I love this comp. This comp makes me happy.
Yeah, for audio listeners, this has Mel in a comp with a Resto Chamois, Shadow Priest, Holy Priest, 2 Arcane Mages.
Yeah. So this comp is a way to get 7 healers effectively. It's also a way to get a lot of shamans in there because the heroisms are really nice. And they are probably the second best healer in the raid. They're the most versatile, at least, so you can put them on both raid healing and tank healing, and they're effective at either. This comp is comfy for pretty much every fight. You will be happy, and it's not something that everybody's going to be able to do because you have a Boomkin, or you have a Ellie Shaman, or you have a different group of melee, or the healers can't all be in these specific roles or whatever. But
the priest has to be with the Shadow Priest. That's a very much thing we want to really harp on.
Yeah, I would say the priest does a lot of the raid healing in this instance, and you can swap a Resto Shaman for a Holy Priest, and I would say you could drop a Resto Shaman and fill it with any other healer. Maybe not a second Holy Paladin, but this is a good, well-rounded comp for Sunwell progression. I think that down the line you can drop to 6. I think gear is going to help you a lot. And some guilds will be able to do 5, but there are fights like Eridar Twins and Muru and even Kil'jaeden. Maybe not Kil'jaeden, but there's a lot of healing and there's a lot of burst, and you need the chain heals and you need the raid healing in order to keep up, because the fights are starting to get tuned to the point where if someone dies, your odds of success go way down. And I think in BT and High Jaw, that's not necessarily the case. You could lose 1 or 2. But the way that these DPS checks are set up is like that's just not really possible anymore, which is exciting because the game's getting harder. It's been very easy up until now, and so but it's also frustrating.
So what are the tanks that you have here? Is it a druid and a warrior, or a druid and a paladin?
No, it's 2 druids.
So you could swap a feral druid for a prot warrior just fine. I probably wouldn't bring 2 prot warriors. But you could bring 1 of each, or 2 ferals and a prot pally. I think that's probably the 2 ferals and the prot pally are probably the way to go if you can swing it. Prot warriors are a little bit outclassed in a lot of the stuff these days. Yeah. And the feral druid's really nice because you can swap to cat and DPS effectively, and the prot warrior just kind of sits there limp if he's not tanking. So
Swigging.
Yeah.
Look at me.
I have a question. Say you have 2 healing priests. Would it be better for one of the priests to go discipline? I'm just curious.
You could. I probably wouldn't.
Circle of Healing's too strong, I think.
Circle of Healing's really strong. And there are comps. There are like Eridar twins, like those two circle priests are great. But you could. I think a disc priest is probably just fine. It'll be really good on Brutalis, and excuse me. It'll be really good on maybe Muru, but yeah, I think that's probably fine. It depends on the comfortability level of your disc priest. If he's thinks he can handle it.
I was just curious because looking at ours, we might have 2 holy priests, and you put 2 holy priests in the shadow group. I don't know. Mel might be missing out. I was curious
you couldn't fit a second holy priest in the shadow group or in the shadow priest.
We
group.
need a disc priest then. Yeah. Don't bring another holy priest in. I don't want the competition.
Yeah, you would swap that second Resto Shaman in group 5 for whatever the other healer is.
Yeah, well, our thoughts were possibly just like moving pieces around. Because another question I have is for your lock group. You've got 3 destruction warlocks, 1 affliction, and a resto chamois. So you've dropped the elemental chamois completely and the boomkin completely. So is that basically where you kind of pulled your heels from because you dropped those 2?
The elemental shaman is respeccing resto. Yeah, we're gonna have them collect as much resto gear between now and launch as possible, and have them go resto for a while until they can go back to LE when we feel like we can drop back down to 6. And then for the boomkin, you can just swap one of the Destro locks for a boomkin. That'll be just fine.
Okay.
We don't think boomkins are necessarily in the best place, but they're totally great. The melee love them. The casters love them.
They're super cool looking, you know.
Yeah, but I just think they're maybe not keeping up DPS wise. But they raise everybody else's parses, so everybody loves them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm able to get crazy parses at the moment, but it's because we have an Ellie and a boomkin. You know?
Yeah, you're in the BIS group. Yeah,
it's probably smarter overall for the raid. And it's probably been this way for a while to not have a boomkin. Like, it's just like for speed and everything else to just have an extra lock, right?
Well, there's definitely an argument to be made for like progression to bring that boomkin because the extra innervate's really nice and the extra battle res is really nice.
Yeah.
And it's like that helps you a lot with mistakes. Like you can salvage a pull with that. But I don't know if in a perfect scenario, the boomkin is going to raise the overall raid DPS between what they bring and what another warlock might bring. So,
gotcha.
But warlock's boring apparently. So
yeah, warlock sucks, dude. I don't understand how anybody does it, dude. I watched Sarth play warlock. His literally all his bars are shadowable. It's just
that was the funniest meme
awful.
ever. We actually just talked about that. Who did we talk about? Oh, I talked about it with Riggs and Scotty J. This is the funniest meme ever. Like it's just all Shadow Bolt. Oh man. Yeah, so it's like give everybody a breakdown. That's what the lock group looks like. This has also got a protection paladin, a holy paladin, restoration, druid, and 2
Three resto shamans.
4 resto shamans.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, I was just reading group 5, but yeah, 4 resto shamans across.
Come on.
Well, your Ellie is respeccing resto, so to be clear, that's where that group 4 one.
We do. Yeah, we do.
I don't know that they're respeccing resto.
2 shades. Yeah, I don't know that he would do that, but it's possible he could go his shadow priest and Kim could go holy priest too.
Only if he promises not to take my shadow priest group. And he is a shadow priest right now, so I feel like he's gonna use that in his favor, right? And man,
then you've got
it's looking worse and worse.
one combat rogue. You've got an armed
Yeah,
sword.
the rogue is just kind of like a olive branch to rogues. I don't know. If
You don't actually have to bring one.
You don't have to bring it, but
You don't need the rogue. Let's be
another
honest.
BM hunter or another fury warrior probably are better. But if your rogue has glaives, bring them. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's true.
You got one arms,
If not,
one
sit him on the
fury.
bench, guys.
You got one survival and one beast master hunter. You got one ret pally. Then I think we
Really?
named everything in the raid.
Who puts a red pelly in any group? Come on.
You need it for blessings.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair.
You need 3 pallies.
So on the protection paladin, how important are they actually? Like, could you have like a protection paladin that was kind of like, I don't know, spec'd weird and had 2 different gear sets so they could heal or tank at different times?
So yeah, I don't think they necessarily need to spec weird, but they're definitely like an extra healer in a lot of fights. Like on Eridar Twins, you probably don't need the protection paladin tanking. On Kill Jaden, they're going to be tanking some of the time, but they can be healing a lot of the time. On Brutalis, they're healing the entire time. So yeah, they should bring their healing sets for sure. That'll be a nice little buffer that you can assign them like a non-important role. Sorry for that noise.
It's all right.
And yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry. Sorry, they're cooking something over there.
Well, I hope they're cooking something nice for you.
I mean, I don't know. I don't deserve it after that. So, so yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So basically, the biggest thing you need to worry about overall is the 7 healers.
Yes, bring 7. You'll be very happy you did. Even on like Eridar Twins and Muru, you're gonna be like, damn, the healing on this is really hard. To bring 7. If they gate the release and only the first 3 come out for the first couple weeks and you're accruing gear, that'll help you. Maybe you can do 6, but for progression, I would just recommend 7.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I think we talked about that a good amount. If you want, like I said, check out Classic Life from Crix and Sarth. They go into a lot of the different strategies of the fights. It's really cool. I don't think Crix has it on audio platforms yet, but that's a podcast you definitely want to check out on YouTube anyhow, because they have a lot of visual aids that help out quite a bit while talking about it. So, all right, the next topic is Asmongold finally gets his Blizzard interview, and he behaved himself pretty well. I mean, it almost felt like it did feel like a professional interview. I was impressed that he was able to. It was great. It was like watching somebody else. It was. Let's be honest. It wasn't Asmongold the character. It was Zach. So,
Sure.
Like, he did a good interview. Most of it was about retail, so we won't talk about that really. But there was a little part where he talked
Special
about
plug at the end.
Huh?
I said a special plug at the end.
Yeah, he asked him about the future of Classic WoW, and basically Ian said, we kind of need to know from you guys, like, do you just want to get through Wrath and then start over again, or is there things about Cataclysm that we could change that would make you want to continue on that journey, whether it be not squishing down the talent trees, not looking for a raid, not doing the different dungeon or the different raid difficulties, like all of them. Like, is there different things that would change your mind on playing Cata? And I thought it was interesting because it looks like they don't know what they want to do here. What do you guys think of this?
I think Ian doesn't know much about Classic. I think Ian's role is way more invested in retail, right? Like, I think and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like he is.
I mean, he did play all through the original
Correct.
vanilla. Like he was the
I'm not
one
saying
of
he
the best
wasn't
guild leaders that there was. Like as far as
right, but how
getting stuff
invested is
done.
he in Classic right now?
Oh, I have
mean,
no
have we
idea.
ever
I
have
didn't
we
even
heard
know
anything else from him about Classic ever?
until this last interview they did. I hadn't heard Ian talk about Classic at all, so I have no idea.
That's my thing. I don't know. Joardee, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they clearly talked to the Classic team, whatever that team looks like. I have no idea, considering feels like it's, you know,
Yeah, the three man
monkeys
crew
in a typewriter
in the basement, or they're probably in a closet somewhere with the brooms and the mops and stuff. And they got a sink there, you know. They could use the restroom if they need to.
They talk through like little like cup and string things through closets in different offices. They're like, hey.
It just baffles me that that's the case. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they know. I also don't know if we know, right? Like what do you want? You know, I think everyone's kind of like, after the Lich King's dead, maybe that's it. And sure, you could start over, but who cares? I guess I think I did it again, and I'll be happy.
Too soon. It's way too soon. Like, come back in 10 years and maybe, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I feel like that way with Classic, with like Season of Mastery, right? If I only went back for the hardcore challenge, never in a million years would I have gone back and played it again the way that I played it the first time. Like, no. It took me 10 years to convince me to go back and play it, right? I wasn't even excited about it.
It took 15 years.
Yeah, well, either way. But
I guess it was 10 years after you had quit, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's right.
I mean, I also think, like, first of all, I can only imagine what the Classic team said to Ian after this podcast. Like, I think that would be hilarious, where you have
what have you done?
Yeah, like a fly on the wall that was like, what the hell? Why
did you say that?
About on what do you want to change in Cataclysm? Like, we need 100 more people to make any of this happen that you're just suggesting here. Like, I think that's hilarious. But I don't know. I also feel like the community evolves, right? And it's funny for me to see like the things that the community, specifically recently, like LFD, where the community at the beginning was like, oh, that was the beginning of the end, right? And now it's like so many people like, obviously that's what we want. And to think that this is the same game as it was 15 years ago is just a fool's errand, right? Like it's not the same game. Like, yes, it's the same game. We're not the same gamers, right? And maybe that's a better way to explain it is, you know, we're not the same gamers, so we're going through content differently. Content's never going to be like it was 15 years ago, and nobody wants it to be like it was 15 years ago, right? And I think that people would go to Cataclysm. I think that I don't know where it stops, right? I don't know where people burn out and it's enough, but I think they need to start moving a little bit quicker. I think TBC has been good a good amount of time. I think, but I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority of that, right? Maybe I just feel like the end of every raid tier is like, oh, I have to go do this again. Like, I would prefer to move a little bit quicker, but that could just be me. And
ran pretty quick though. It's been
TBC's been
really
okay.
Nice.
TBC's been okay. I feel like the pace of TBC has been better than. I mean, obviously, Classic was like, how many times do I do Molten Core before I want to rip somebody's head off? Like, with 40 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, you would have asked me at the start of Classic, I would have been like, hell no, I'm not trying Cata. But now I'm like thinking, like, well, maybe. And with changes, like, I could maybe see it. But like, there's so many things about Cata that I hate. Like, everybody makes fun of me for this, but I hate transmog. I freaking hate transmog.
I agree.
But they could fix that for me easy and make the people that like it happy also. A simple toggle switch where I can toggle it on and off for me. So meaning I will see exactly what you have on if I toggle it off. Then I might even toggle it on sometimes for like a fun in-town transmog competition, right? But I don't want it for the whole game at all, you know? And it's just
I agree.
it's the same thing about the graphics. Like a lot of people when Classic came out were like, I wish we could have the new updated graphics. I was like, that's fine. As long as you give me a toggle and it doesn't hurt me, I'm fine with it, you know? Like, and so like those types of things I think they could fix and make it good for both sides of the you know, for both sides.
If we had transmog, how would anybody be able to tell me if I still had my fishing pole on? You know, that's all I'm saying. Like,
Is that a common occurrence for you?
It has been in the past.
No,
After Lurker?
I maybe did. No, not. I don't even do that anymore. I stopped fishing, but I maybe did a whole MC with my fishing pole on.
Early on,
yeah, at like the beginning when it was like important for me not to have my fishing pole on.
Yeah, she had the big one too, the one that's obvious. What's it called?
Nice. The big iron fishing pole.
No, the priest staff.
Oh, benediction.
Yeah, she had benediction. So it's kind of obvious, just like looking at her character, that the fishing pole was on instead of the thing that glows as she runs by. You know,
the raid frames. Okay, my life lives in raid frames.
Yep, that's true.
Leave me alone.
Oh yeah, but
Casmo always got my back though. He always tells me when I've got the wrong gear on. That's why I don't want transmog.
Yeah, I don't but things like that, I think they could fix. I really hate, you know, the way they did talents. They squished them down at first, and then like when they changed them to the weird boxes, like I don't know, there's something magical about those talent trees and the way they moved and had to do. There was something magical. The icons, like everything.
Listen, I don't know how it is in retail, but if we could just get a confirm box so I didn't have to stress out so much when I'm putting my talents in and I could change them.
Wrath. That comes in
okay,
Wrath.
So there's an add-on called Talented that you should definitely look into that fixes all that for you.
Yep. Well, and it actually just comes in Wrath too. Like the confirm box comes in Wrath.
I'll DM you Talented. It's great. You just like pre-fill out a talent situation, and then when you respec, you just hit go on whatever you've labeled, and it'll just do it for you. So
listen, the stress I get from like switching my stack, I'm like, okay, this one,
that's all gone.
Because you like pre-make it over here, right? And then you like go to your thing, and it's like you push one extra click, and you're like, damn it, 50 more gold.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. And then you could just be like, no, I'll just leave it. It's just 1 point. Then like I can't do
it messes up everything. Like 1 point in the wrong spot.
Sometimes it does, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, Joardee, what could they do to convince you to play Cataclysm? What kind of rule changes could they put in?
I don't know if I've given it any real thought. I just like gaming with my guild, if I'm being honest, and I'm gonna play with them wherever they go. You know, whether that's further on or Ashes of Creation or whatever it is. You know, I think that the social aspect of the group of people that I play with is why I'm still playing. You know, and
that's kind of the only reason I've thought about playing Cataclysm recently, because a lot of people have talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think that's the glory of World of Warcraft, right? Is the community.
Yeah.
And whether you get it through traveling to dungeons or you get it through your guild, which most people do, I think that's what keeps people around. And that's why we love it, is because we have this family. And yours is much larger than ours, you know. She'll look into birth control or something, but you know, our family is much smaller.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with that one right off the cusp?
No, I got a Catholic Irish family. Come on.
I don't know. I think the revamp of the old world feels bad, but like, to be fair, like we all boost like we're not hanging out in that anymore. So
very few people.
Listen, everybody complains about the boost, but I'm going to tell you, my butt was sitting in Moradon every time I built up an alt. Getting
exactly.
Yeah.
And so
There are
And so,
a
like,
few
we-
weirdos though that still quest out. Like one of my best friends does
Yeah.
it. He's on his like 7th character now. I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
but like I mean you mentioned hardcore, right? And like questing hardcore was an entirely different experience than leveling as a regular character, and
Oh, it was crazy cool.
it was magical, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was.
I
like,
did, yeah. I got a
hate
60 warrior,
leveling.
and I loved
Oh.
it.
A
And
warrior.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
warrior. Wow, I hate
It was a
leveling.
challenge.
But man, they put me in
Um,
that, and I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
cool.
It's cool because every decision matters, right? Like every little thing could be life or death,
And you find out
or save you.
All these vendors sell all these crap that I
Yeah.
just never clicked on them.
Totally.
Listen,
and I think that
you can feel me, Joardee. I had to level as a duo with Bob. So his mistakes were really the ones that
Sure.
mattered. Because I was a priest. I was
but
you know.
yeah, I mean, like in a duo situation, like you have to trust your partner, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was
Or
just
be
a
able
solo
to murder
warrior.
them in their
I was
sleep,
I
you
was
know?
just a
That was-
Spartan on the hills of.
That's even harder
You know,
though.
this is
The
awful.
warrior was really that was
It was
that
really
was a hard
tough.
mode. You
It
did
was fun.
hardcore hard mode.
Yeah, and then like tanking dungeons at 60 was really scary, and only had one death in any of my runs, but I had PTSD for like 2 weeks about it. It was awful. So
Dude,
What
I
level
had.
were you with your death?
Yeah,
oh no, I didn't die. I one shot it.
Nice.
But the priest I was in
What?
a group with died because we pulled too much and got
Mhm.
overwhelming.
Dude,
Um,
Poor priest.
I was
Yeah.
like my first run, I was flying through it. Got to level 35 as a rogue and freaking died. And then I got into what Wiki calls the shadow zone. And
Ooh.
then my next death was at 29. And my next and that was to drowning too.
oof.
And then I thought I had taken an underwater breathing pot, but I took an intellect pot. It didn't help my intelligence
Oh
at all.
man.
But then I died at 19. Then I died at 14.
Wow, you
and-
really backslid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I died
Yeah.
at 8. And I was like, okay, calm down. You're going to get this done. And then I made it to 60. But
Nice, nice.
it was rough. And I thought Rogue was going to be easy because of Vanish and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't understand how many things dot and bleed. And Vanish doesn't do shit for dots. There's no cloak of shadows. So dots and bleeds kill you. And you just have to end up being like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for cooldowns before I start going again. Because
Sure.
a rogue without cooldowns is nothing. Like I did a druid duo with her and I was like, this is easy mode. What the hell? Like I do more damage and I can turn
Healing,
to bear and I can
Yeah.
heal.
I'm not gonna
what the
lie, my
hell?
priest was pretty easy mode. I mean, I could just wand things to
Yeah.
death forever.
Spirit Tavern Wand, it's
Yeah,
your bread and butter.
yeah. I got shields.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
But
okay, but what were we talking on though? Oh yeah, we were talking on Cataclysm. We get on a lot of tangents here. Hopefully you're okay with that.
no.
Yeah.
So yeah, they tore up
yeah, I don't know.
the world, but at the same time, everybody was always asked to go back to the old world. Like I have a weird take from a lot of people. Is like I liked the tear up of the world. It was neat to go see the new stuff. It was a bummer I couldn't see the old stuff, but I mean, now you have Season of Mastery if you want to see that. But like I kind of thought that part was neat. It was all the other stuff that really kind of drove me away from Cata.
Well, that's what we were talking about. We were asking Joardee what it would take for him to come back to Cataclysm, and he was talking about the community and the hardcore experience being different. So go from there if you
Well, he
remember
said-
your train of thought.
Yeah, he said if his guild went, he would probably go, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about it. I'm in for Wrath. I know that much, and then we'll see. That's all I can really commit to right now. So
So you got. Well, and
Um,
it's hard to like separate. Like, there's so many changes that go into Wrath, and then you think about on top of that the changes that come into Cataclysm. Like, it's a little too much for right now, kind of really.
yeah,
Yeah, we're just about to go into one expansion. Let's not start talking about the next one quite yet, right?
Yep. All right,
Future tripping? Nah.
Nah, who does that?
Oh, just wait. As soon as Wrath pops, we're going to have 1 million Cataclysm videos because that's the way to jump
100%.
in front of the YouTube algorithm. So, there's a
Gotta
whole.
win.
Hey, that was good.
There's a whole lot of people. I remember when Metagoblin was making TBC videos. Like, I mean, we were like just into BWL, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he was laughing all the way to the bank when TBC came out, and he was on the top of all those algorithm searches. So I was like, "Oh, I get it. I get it." But
I just started doing
happy to have
YouTube, and
those.
I'm learning about the algorithm, and it's interesting.
It's
very
a
interesting.
nightmare.
Yeah, it is. It is very interesting.
How do you game the system is really what you want to find out.
Well, and they
Yeah.
fight to like make sure you can't game it like daily, so it makes it extremely hard. I think the best way is just to have good content and then people share it, and then that's really what it boils down to.
Nah.
And then like 10 to 15 minute videos is where it's at. Like, if you're gonna try to start a podcast, either already have a following or do clips. Anybody that wants to start a podcast, that's my advice to you. Okay, so just real quick hitting it on the news. Activision Blizzard stockholders have approved the $68.7 billion sale to Microsoft. This does not mean it's totally done. There's still people, certain groups fighting it, but it is much closer as of now. But it's still like anybody who thinks that Microsoft's running the show at the moment, they're still not. So I hear that meme a lot. Oh, now that Microsoft's in charge, that's why they're doing this. It's going to be a bit still before Microsoft takes over. But there could be decisions made by Blizzard because of the acquisition, but Microsoft is not in charge yet. Still won't be till at least sometime in 2023. So,
to my knowledge, with
in.
acquisitions, they can't change a lot. So don't expect anything big until Microsoft actually takes over, because there's rules in place when you're in negotiations about if you don't have the ability to make X, Y, or Z decisions or to add X, Y, or Z expense because you're trying to sell. So they don't want them to tank the business to sell.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that in there so people knew it was still going on, and that we're not Microsoft yet. But this next one, I just want to throw it in there. I just kind of wanted to see if Joardee had any experience with the games that are talked about. So there were some leaks from Warcraft mobile games. So the leaks are that there's 2 games in development with the Warcraft IP. One of them based on Pokemon Go, and one of them based on Clash of Clans. Now, have you had any experience with either of those mobile games, Joardee?
I do with Pokemon Go, not so much Clash of Clans. I love Pokemon Go. When I live in LA, and when that was a thing, the entire city was a different place than it normally is. There's zero chance that this is going to be anywhere near as big as that was. It was a phenomenon. But I'm interested to see what they've got. I mean, if it's pet battles, I just like, who cares? I don't know. The Clash of Clans clone might be interesting, but I'm not a huge mobile gamer. I feel like it's predatory a lot of the time.
Auction house. I feel like
Very
that's
predatory.
nice. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, nice.
I don't need a mobile game. I just need a mobile auction house.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't have any experience with Pokemon Go. However, I played Clash of Clans at a really high level.
He says high level, and he means expensive level.
I should say I'm
that
sorry,
too.
shouldn't I?
Oh, it was.
Yes, you should. To me.
It's the reason I don't play any mobile games anymore, because we looked at like a year spending on just Clash of Clans, and holy shit, we spent almost $5,000 this year on Clash of Clans.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, because it's like $5 here, $30 here, $20 here, right?
Well,
it doesn't seem like you're spending a lot.
Yeah, and like if you spend it all at once to work things up, but like I would play it and I would boost like my armories so I could do like never-ending attacks, so I wouldn't have to wait 20 to 30 minutes to do another attack. I'd just boost them so I could just attack, and just play. And you don't understand what that ends up being on a daily basis. So
yes, until Mel puts together a spreadsheet and presents it to her husband.
Wow. Shots fired.
Yeah, it was like, wow, it's so predatory. And I guess you could do it a nicer way. I mean, I do think people talk smack on Hearthstone, but I think Hearthstone was a really good model. Every 3 months you spend $50 and you'd have all of the cards and you could make everything you wanted to make. And I mean, if you played the game a ton, $50 every 3 months wasn't bad. You know, that's only $200 a year compared to what I spent on Clash of Clans. Let's not talk about it, too much. But it was one of the lesser predatory games, I think.
Yeah, I think it is still too predatory, Hearthstone. Like, I mean, we're playing this game 15-ish a month. It's been that way for 20 years, and you get everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's still more than I paid for like.
But you weren't getting the full game with Hearthstone. Like, you needed to spend
it was
$100, $200 a release to get all those cards. You know what I mean?
I spent $50 every time, and
you played a lot, right? And that's the difference, right? Like, you played a lot.
I did kill all the cards I couldn't use. Like, I never played the one. I only played ranked, so I could kill.
So you were churning.
Yeah,
you weren't trying to collect everything. You just wanted the one.
Yeah, I wanted what I could play in ranked that season. Okay. So I would disenchant all the older cards.
So
and
you weren't
even
playing the full game. You still weren't. That's what I'm saying.
I think ranked is the full game, but I mean,
no. I just mean like you couldn't build any deck you wanted. You could only play one or two decks at a time.
I could build any deck in that season.
He would only disenchant retired cards.
Yeah, cards that you could only use.
Oh, okay, that's fair. All right.
There was a game mode called. There was the season ranked, and there was a game mode called Wild. And Wild, you could play any card you want. I didn't like Wild. I liked the new hotness, and I was.
You didn't like Wild because you disenchanted all your cards.
That was the way I always had anything that I wanted that was playable in that ranked season. So I guess like for that part, it was actually cheap. I guess if you wanted to keep all your cards, I guess you're right. It would have been like probably 100, 150, maybe even 200 every 3 months to actually do it.
It's just under the guise of free to play, which is annoying, right? It's free to play. Sure, you can free to play and suck, or they can get you in where initially you're going to be good. And then to get to that next level, now you have to pay, right? And I don't know, it traps you. It just brings you in, and
it's hard for me to like parse through the difference in cost versus value from a game like Hearthstone versus a game like Elden Ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's $60 for one of the most like well-crafted experiences you've ever seen. Versus Hearthstone, where it's like, okay, I got 100 new cards, and they have little animations, and like that's doesn't feel like the same amount of value.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think it's definitely different, right? And
like how hard could the development be for Hearthstone compared to that, right? That's like.
Well, and the same could be said about Candy Crush, right? I'm pretty sure Wizard owns Candy Crush, right? Like, don't tell me, like, I play Candy Crush and I play it just as like a pastime when I'm bored or when I'm on an airplane or something. Like, I play it, but I'm not spending thousands of dollars on Candy Crush. Like, but there are people that do. And I think that it does reel me in, though, to a point where I'm like, I have to take a step back and be like, no, Mel, you should not buy that. That's stupid. Like, why would you do that? But it gets me like thinking about doing it. And, that's annoying.
It's
but
that immediate gratification,
yeah,
gambler-esque vibe.
Yeah, it's definitely a gambling type of game.
Yeah, Hearth is definitely. And then the Clash of Clans one is like, I luckily started that game like almost the day it came out, or I could have spent even more money on, but I was like basically caught up because I would boost the barracks and just attack, few hours every night. Like I was like built up, like fast, but someone coming in, like you could pay like exorbitant amounts of money just to boost your town hall and all these different
those
structures.
whales.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
I mean, we had one guy
You were a
in
whale.
our guild. I mean, I was a semi-whale, but we had one guy in our guild that he drove a Tesla. Like he was a government, what's the rallier? No, what are they called? Lobbyist. He was a lobbyist, and he literally always, the second a new patch would come out, he would buy everything upgraded. Like he would just get everything. The amount he probably had to be spending $50K a year on this game. Like it's nuts. Like, and he could just do it because he makes, 400 to 500K a year. Like it's just, it's just crazy.
And that one guy pays for all those little guys, right? That are playing free to play and all that. So I don't know.
Yep. I was a baby whale compared to him, but I was definitely for that year a whale. Like it was, I've never gone back.
You know what they should do is like set like a limit, and they'll never do this because this is business like failure. But you set a limit, and it's like, hey, once we get to this much paid people, everybody else can get it for free.
Just set his parental controls on his phone. And,
I'm gonna try.
Don't
that.
let him buy any more microtransactions and be good.
I'm just not
he doesn't anymore.
I'm just not going to play any mobile games.
My spreadsheet, little tutorial there. It was definitely, we had an intervention and we were good.
I was appalled and angry. Like I wrote many angry forum posts. Like I wrote into the company. I was angry.
Wow.
I was angry.
And I was like,
that
what
I got
are you
taken
angry
advantage
about? You
of.
get it, Bob. Like,
I know.
You were like, this
I know.
is
I know.
okay.
I know.
Yeah.
It was my own fault, but I was angry. Yeah, and I haven't played a mobile game since.
To be fair, like there are like psychologists on these companies that are
100%.
doing this, right? Like they know the buttons to press in your brain to shorten the gap between like your impulse and the spending the money, right? And like that is where this technology is being spent, is that
Well, Clash of Clans
They know
is
exactly
so good
like how
because
much
they have
money
so many ways.
It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit.
Yeah, and they know how frequently to advertise it, and they know how frequently to like present it, and what changes to make in the game so that it seems necessary, right?
And
like
what sucks is mobile games are destroying our actual games because if you just look at Activision's quarterly report, they make
Candy Crush is
so
killing it.
much more money on the mobile market than they do on anything else, and it's just.
This is a call to arms, guys, where you guys need to limit your spending on mobile games so we can continue to get good games, or else nobody will invest in actual games because financially it does not seem like the best investment, right?
It's a scary
Why would you
world.
invest in World of Warcraft Classic that's making you $16 a month versus, which it's not even making you $16 a month. Like people are paying $16 a month versus Candy Crush, which people are spending on average $100 a month, right? Let's say. And it's probably more than that, to be honest. So what's the motivation there? How many developers do you think they need on Candy Crush versus World of Warcraft Classic?
Who knew when the first iPhone came out that Steve Jobs was actually screwing us gamers so much? Like, who knew?
Thanks, Steve. Come on.
It all boils down to Steve Jobs' fault. Smartphone.
Blame Steve.
Ruined the gaming world. All right. Well, yeah. So just wanted to let everybody know that those are possibly coming out. They are leaks, so we don't know for sure. But yeah, look to see that happening. All right. What else? Oh, then the last thing is a Classic Season of Mastery update. AQ, the Ahn'Qiraj war effort is now live in Classic Season of Mastery, and yeah, they're basically they're saying half of the resources that you needed prior are required. They're reducing the time until auto completion for the war effort. Basically, all realms, no matter what, the gates will open within 1 month of its open. So, I don't think. Do you even play Season of Mastery?
I don't, but well, not anymore. But I have extensive knowledge of the war effort. I just shared you a link of that I did for our server back in the day on Incendious.
Oh wow!
Oh my god!
And this was my project a couple summers ago, and it was a blast, but it's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
So what server were you on? You said you're on Benediction now. Have you always been on Benediction?
We were on Incendious, and then before that we were on Stalag. And so this this sheet was what we used to track the war effort and all that. And I have very fond memories of that time, and
it was an exciting time in Classic. Wait, we
were under the impression that other guilds had already like planned out the war effort because that's what they relayed, but then they like delayed it so that
they decided to delay it to get more mounts.
More mounts. Yeah.
We farmed the whole thing with some other guilds. You can see on the taps at the bottom, like the other guilds and all that. And then we opened the gates literally the first possible minute. And yeah, I got to ring the gong. It was amazing.
Nice.
We were so mad. We're like, why did we rely on this? Not that we would have done it. We're not that salty, but
yeah, I mean,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
I would have been mad too.
I remember when it was going on, we had a Chinese guild on our server who is now on Benediction, I believe. They're now called Old Turtles, I believe, on Benediction. But they were Old Turtles Never Die on Whitemane.
Okay.
And they basically, it was hilarious when they found out that the other Risen and the other guild that were going to get it done on the Alliance side, when they realized that they were like holding off, all of a sudden you saw these Old Turtles Never Die. I'm pretty sure they were bots all over the place, but even in Elwyn Forest, there's like 4 mages on each farm, just like shooting all the boars, getting the leather.
Yeah,
like, it was hilarious, and they got it done pretty quick for us. So we were like, thank you.
Oh,
yeah, good times.
Yeah, well, that's opening up. They're gonna push it forward. I'm curious to see if any server actually completes it prior to the 1 month. We'll probably have Doretus on in the next like week or two to talk about that because he's actually raiding in Season of Mastery. Yeah. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Oh yeah, he's a great dude. I actually asked him to come on tonight, but he couldn't. He had date night. So when we weren't gonna have Yip, I was like, we could have.
This is our date night, right, Bob?
Definitely.
What does that make me?
Joardee, you're kind of a third wheel here, apparently.
I'm honored.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's it for the news this week. Let's move on to discussion. All right. It is time. Let's get to know Joardee. Everybody always asks me why I do these interviews at the end of the show instead of the start of the show. Because they're like,
it's so you don't ghost us, after your interview, right?
But that's not why I do it.
Has anybody done that?
No.
No.
Okay.
But
It's awful.
like, I have people ask me why I do the interview at the end after we've already heard you talk your points and everything else. It's because what I found is that if you get to know them during the actual episode, the interview goes even better because they're relaxed and it just turns into a much more chill thing. So I've had you guys ride it a ton. That's the reason that I do the interviews at the end of the show every time. So now it's on record. All right, let's get to know you. When did you start playing WoW, like actual WoW?
As a kid, yeah. Vanilla 2004, right? 5. I raided a fair amount in high school, and then I quit like freshman year of college, right as Wrath came out.
Because of
College,
because of girls, right?
Yeah.
Because of girls.
Not because of
things-
studying, but because of girls.
all the things that college brings. Yeah. The internet also sucked in the dorms, so I was like, if this isn't gonna be easy, I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, that's when I started, and so I took a long break, and then I started back up when Classic came out. So
okay, so you actually quit like during Wrath, huh?
Or very early Wrath. Yeah, I played a little bit, like a couple months of Cata, but it was never a thing.
Never gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So that answers the next. How long did you play for? So before Classic came out, did you play any private servers?
No, not a one. A lot of people in my guild did. That was kind of where they got their start and formed their core and all that. And then I joined Fusion like 3 days into Classic. An old guy that I raided with back in the day, I reconnected with, and he's like, I'm over here. You should come. You can be a social. And then, I just slowly wormed my way in. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when
that's
they
how you
announced
get into a guild.
Classic, when they announced Classic, though, first I want to go back. First, when you were raiding in Vanilla, what was your experience there? Was it like, were you in a good guild? Were you in a mediocre guild? Did you clear all the content? How often did you raid?
I think we were pretty good. We got like halfway through next. Sorry, we killed like Patchwork, and I think we got Loatheb, but we definitely didn't kill Kel'Thuzad. And then in TBC,
Dude, that's
I think
crazy.
we got
Hold on. Let me stop you there, though. You were a kid, and you did this. Okay, because we killed four bosses in Nax. I'm still not sure if it was 4 or 5, but we killed like 4, and we were like server second, both Nefarian and Cthulhu, but we didn't allow anyone under 18. So you had a guild that actually allowed you in as
I was a
kid.
squeaker too. It was bad. Like my voice would drop.
Man. Yeah, we like squeakers
so
were
they
immediately
just
kicked.
mercilessly made fun of me.
I'm sure.
So it was, but I stuck.
But how many nights a week did you raid?
I can't remember, but it was way too many.
Yeah, it was
we were
5 nights a week for us.
Yeah, it was like 5 nights a week,
time.
5 to 8 hours a night, depending.
Yeah, it was a lot of time. My mom hated it. So yeah. And then in TBC, I think we killed Eridar twins and weren't able to finish, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure. But I still play with some of those guys. Some of those guys are in Fusion now. So
that's crazy.
We reconnected years later, which is really fun and nice to have a little bit of a closed loop on the whole thing. So
yeah, for sure. So when you came back to, or when you heard the announcement that Classic WoW was coming, or however you heard it, were you immediately like, yeah, hell yeah?
Nope.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing it. Nope. And then like day
my response
3,
to Bob was, that ruined my life once. I'm not going to want to do it again.
That was mine too. And then like day 3, I was like, that looks fun. Maybe I'll just level.
I'll just start a character, you know.
And yeah, there you go.
And here we are.
So yeah. I just thought I'd come back and maybe get to 40 and get a mount. And then like a week in, I was like, no, I'm here.
Listen, I fought Bob on it for 3-4 weeks. Like, I was like, nope. And then finally one night, I probably had a lot of wine, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, sure, why not? And then I
couldn't get her off.
Now
exactly,
you're hosting a podcast.
Yeah, which I also was baited into, because that was also, hey, Mel, we'll talk for an hour once every other week on the podcast. Like, it'll be great. And I'm
we
like,
used to do Overwatch podcasts, though. She ran her own that she took over. I was on 2 different ones.
But just the commitment, right? You said 1 hour once every 2 weeks, and now we do like
I didn't realize there'd be so much to talk about
once a week. Like, come on.
And to be fair, they were silent with us the first 6 months of Classic, and we started the podcast, I don't know, like 4 weeks prior to AQ, and the news just started coming out. It just made the podcast. Like, I just didn't think there'd be much to talk about it, you know. But yeah, so did any friends pull you in, or it was just like you just saw Twitch going crazy?
Yeah, I was watching Max play, and the Method guys like racing and all that. And I was like, that looks fun. And I shouldn't have. My brother was like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
But it's totally different now, right? Like, now raids that took us 3 hours a night, 5 days a week, took us an hour 1 day a week, right?
Yeah, totally.
I feel like it's perfect for the people that we were then, when we had all the time in the world, versus the people we are now, where we don't have all the time in the world, but we're just better. So now it just takes us less time. And it's like, I can still do the things that I loved, but it only takes me a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was actually huge. That was a big change. And it's just like I get to like try out different classes and stuff that I never played before too. So it's basically a rogue all through the entirety of it. And yeah, I mean,
who has time to work up a second character when you're raiding every night of the week for every night?
Yeah.
But so you got back in. We'll talk about just real quick before, because you talked about your guild. I want to talk about that. You said you got in there 3 days after, but what's your favorite class, real quick?
Depends on the mood, I guess. I think probably Fury Warrior was the most fun I've had playing it. World Buff Fury Warrior in vanilla was
World Buff
just
Fury Warrior is nuts.
It was like driving a Ferrari, like in the Alps. It was
that's how
super
Sal
dangerous.
Dally talked about it on the show.
Yeah, it's just the greatest. I miss World Buffs a lot. But yeah, I think
would you have enjoyed the Chrono Boon from the beginning? Or did you enjoy?
No, I loved the World Buff meta. I loved the toxicity. I loved hiding your character and parking your shit at the top of Ogremar or in some random spot. I loved all that.
The random summoning spots to avoid getting dispelled.
I didn't like raid logging. That was the first time. But
raid logging sucks, sure. But the I mean, I had a Fury Warrior that I played for most of AQ and all of Nax, and being able to log on and get rend and then log back off, and just know that I've like spent all this time just pumping him up and then unleashing him on Nax was so much fun.
Dude,
and then inevitably dying on the first pull because you pulled threat and fucking a ghoul just one shots you.
It was almost also like a little mini game, right? Like, don't die.
Yeah, totally.
You got your world buffs, like don't die.
To the game's benefit, like not dying is good for everybody. You know what I mean? And so it encouraged good play.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
I remember wearing tank gear. so that I wouldn't die, because I was a Fury Warrior too. It made me a big wimp. Like, I was like, I'm just going to wait about 5 or 6 globals, and I'm going to pop on in there. Like,
Listen,
Yeah.
this is where
horrible.
the meme "our healers suck" came from, because warriors would go in like 100% after 2 seconds. They'd die and be like, "Healers, what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "Hey, guess what? Our heal takes longer to go off than whatever you did to pull
Yeah,
aggro and die."
if you get one shot, it's your fault, man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
no, but
and
I
didn't
usually
like,
I usually main the priest, and so that was a lot more low key. That's the character I speedrun with for the most part. And so that's a lot of fun because sometimes I take a more leadership role for the speedruns and stuff, and so it's definitely an easier class to like make call outs for because there's less to focus on. So
Yeah, you just have to look at your raid frames, and
yeah.
I put Circle of Healing on my mouse wheel, so I just like hover over my raid frames and mouse wheel up.
Just
Like,
close
it's
your eyes
wonderful.
and just
Yeah,
do
it's
little
like, here we go,
circles. Yeah.
here we go. Move it
Yeah.
around a little bit, and it's great.
it just drove me nuts having to switch to like trash gear. I'm using all this beefy gear on trash because
Oh
I just,
man.
and then like, you know, and like, because I'm still of the camp that I care about the bosses. I really don't care much about the overall, and I know that's what everybody cares about now. Is like the
For
speed,
shame,
speed.
for shame, sir. You should be ashamed
I'm
of
a
yourself.
boomer.
Thank
I'm a
you.
boomer. I grew up in the time where trash was trash. That's why we called it trash. You
Warcraft
know,
logs is killing the game. Right?
100%.
Parses, man.
I love that
Healing
boss
parses
damage.
suck.
Like, I
Healing
love
parses
it.
don't matter.
I
But no, but
agree.
I understand why that's your point of view. I think as a healer, especially, I hate that because it means
Yes.
you're checked out during trash and things go slower and it's harder for us and all that. But
Well, I
And then
And then
tried
guess what?
hard to check
I use
in
a lot of
during
mana,
it, though.
and then I don't have time to drink because you life tap. And
yeah,
warlocks are the bane of my existence with their life tap.
yeah.
All right, so like your favorite class is basically warrior, but you don't play like your main's basically priest.
Yeah, the priest and the hunter for sure. What I've been rocking lately. I'm gonna be
TBC.
priest. Yeah, I'm gonna be priest, warrior, hunter in Wrath. But
You can be disciplined priest in Wrath. Just curious, because like that's basically the meta, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I
Wait,
won't
there was
be
no
getting
discipline
Val in here.
priest. And there was no discipline priest in that raid combination there.
No, in Wrath. I asked him about Wrath.
Oh, that was Sunwell. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, okay. So you talked about fusion. So you got in there like day 3. Got in as a social. Which, if you want to get in a guild, like honestly, like usually there's not just a raid spot unless you have logs to show or something. Like
Yeah.
there's not just a raid spot that's there. Like social's kind of like how you kind of sneak in, right?
Yeah, it's a good way to like get in, get to know people, make sure that you fit with the culture, and then you know you feel sometimes it's like, oh, we need a healer. It's like, oh, I'll go, and then sometimes you know you can apply formally at some point.
Yeah, and it just turns into kind of you like, well, I mean, for fusion, you have to apply and stuff like. But for our guild, we've had many social people that have just kind of moved in because they did fill, you know, here and there.
Totally.
And then all
We
of a
had
sudden,
one of our top officers joined the raid on the way from Thorium Point to Molten Core because we thought he was an alt, but he wasn't. So we just invited him, and he's been in the guild ever since. So
that's awesome.
you get in however you can.
Yeah, I mean, and if you get the chance to get in, you perform, and then bada bing, bada boom, kind of just works out. And people don't realize, like, I don't think people realize how much turnover there is across. Like, yeah, some guilds stay together and keep their people, but people quit all the time. I think when we looked at it, because we had this really cool guildie named Stoof, now Stoofy, on Benediction, but she made a guild yearbook of our time in Vanilla Classic. And we had like, you know, a 40-man raid. There's like 160 people that went through our 40-man raid during the entirety of Vanilla Classic.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts how many people, 160 might be pushing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a ton though. It was like definitely 3 times the amount. It was definitely at least 120. And it was just like people leave.
Sure. We had 4 raids in Classic.
This
and
is
that was
insane.
it was a lot of work.
I don't even like
can't
one
imagine.
40-man guild was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, give us some more info about Fusion here, because I know Sars in your guild. You guys.
Sars not in our guild.
What?
No.
Oh no, Sars in Salad Bakers.
He's in
no,
Salad Bakers. Yeah.
Crix, you guys just recently pulled him under your wing
for Wrath. He was looking for a more competitive guild, and his numbers fit ours, so it was good. We are. Crix is great. We are a pretty hardcore guild. We were less competitive in vanilla, and we've gotten much more competitive in TBC, and it'll continue into Wrath. And we are led by the infamous Baron Sea Strike. Hit him up on YouTube, Baron Sea Strike Gaming. One of the best raid leaders and guild leaders I've ever met. He's just always making the right call, the right decision. He's really good about being straight with people, and he's just the best dude. And so the entire guild is he is Fusion, and we are all we're all just excited to be able to raid with him.
So do you guys have because you say you have different raids, do you guys have a different raid leader for each of your raids, and then he kind of oversees all of the raids?
He raid leads when he can for a lot of the raids. Like early on in a tier, he'll help raid lead all the raids because he's just a monster. But as the content gets more, everybody gets more comfortable, the other raid leaders will step in and start to lead. But he's the S tier raid leader, and so everybody really wants him there early on to kind of get them through, because we call it the Sea Strike aura. When he's in the raid, everything just goes way better.
So does he have that many ults, or does he on Discord share?
He's on Discord most of the time, share screen, helping. Yeah. Okay. And he has a fair amount of ults, but his ults aren't ever usually in the raids. They're just there to fill if needed and stuff. So
does he raid? Does he raid in is there a main raid group that he does raid with?
Yeah, our main raid on Tuesday, he is a feral druid. I think we're gonna try to get him to swap to Prop Pally for Wrath, but yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and yeah, there's 6 main raids right now. We've gone up and down as time has gone on, but each raid has 25 raiders. There's very few alts in all the raids. I have 2 characters in 2 raids and a few other people, but we try to keep that under wraps, not under wraps, but limited, because if you call out for a week, then you lose 2 raiders, right? That kind of sucks.
Right.
But the nice thing about having 6 raids is let's say you can't do a day, the odds are good that you can swap with somebody in another raid on another day, because we raid 5 days a week. So
you kind of do it like you would do in the service industry, where you get somebody to take your shift and you trade shifts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice. As an adult with a busy schedule, you don't have to plan. You have a raid, but once a month, if you have to swap, that's not a big deal. So
right.
That's cool.
That's cool.
It just takes a lot of work to maintain it. Our rosters are huge, and the officer meeting takes 3 hours a week to figure out how to fit everybody and all that, and deal with whatever. But yeah, it's been great.
Any of the sorry. No.
Please, no, I'm done.
Okay. Any of the raid leaders we might know?
No.
Nope. None of them content creators or anything like that.
No, I really only started streaming in the last few months. But yeah, no, I don't think anybody that you would know. I mean, people have aspirations to be more visible, but I don't think that has quite happened yet.
So I have a question. you mentioned officer meetings. So I know some of it is probably just about logistics and everything like that. How frequently do you guys look into the logs or into performance of the raiders and try to, like, do you have class officers that are helping specific classes and then like a whole officer meeting where you're like, this person is not doing well or is doing great or whatever?
And just how many officers do you have for that type of?
There's like 20 or 30 officers probably.
Damn.
There's a lot of us. There's what we call role leaders, which is like a healing role leader or a physical role leader. And we kind of do periodic audits of logs and make sure everyone's keeping up with the standard that we expect and consuming and all that. And it's a job, man. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it like adds up to a smoother raid, you know, like most of our raids are down to like an hour, it's like a hour 40 BT, you know, and then like a 50-minute high jaw, and then you're out of there. So,
yeah. So what if you do if somebody's logs are showing that
you try to work with them and say, hey, this isn't what it needs to be, and you know, you do the soft touch for a while, and then if it's not working, then, if it's not working, then you can kind of, but like for their trial period, which is 2 weeks, you kind of just be like, okay, well, let's see what you got, and if they're not up to speed, you just cut them. You know what I mean? That's what that's for. So yeah, and then there's like we don't have any shortage of applicants, so it's not hard to find people.
Yeah.
So
no, that's fair. I was just curious.
No, yeah, totally.
It's so different. Like, I feel like that, like, massive, I feel like you guys are like this massive guild that's like speed running and doing all these crazy things. And we're this like tiny little guild over here that's having fun and also like clearing content, but no.
We're having fun too. Don't get me wrong. We have a blast. There's
do
a
you
lot
gamble in your raids?
Baron doesn't like it, but a lot of raids do the what's it called, death rolling and stuff. Yeah.
We have an add-on. It's called Calm Down and Gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't recommend it except for when you're outside of raid. You know, we do it in like, you know, there's times where you're like traveling somewhere. That's when you gamble.
Sure.
Or when you're like waiting to reset or something. Yeah, you gamble there. But we had to cut it off. We had to cut it off during raid because we were definitely becoming much slower.
Yeah, that definitely happens. And Baron will, you know, step in and be like, cut it out. But I think a lot of people are really interested in parsing, and while that has a lot of benefits, it also has some issues that, you know, you try to balance it. And
you got the people. You were talking on Crix and SARS podcast about I forget what boss it was, but there's one mob you just don't even want to mess with. Crix was like, if you're affliction, throw up your corruption on it for procs. But like, and then SARS like, but the parser's gonna be doing whatever they can to it. But and then you're like, but it doesn't matter. But they're like, the parsers don't care that it doesn't matter. They just want the bigger numbers.
I think that Warcraft logs will probably fix it so that it doesn't matter, because they're fourth boss in Sunwell.
At that, though.
Yeah,
they are.
The fourth boss in Sunwell, Ahn'Qiraj twins. When you kill one, the other one heals to full. So the damage is just fluff. Like as you're killing the first one, if you do any damage to the other one, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. And so I think Warcraft logs will probably invalidate the damage that's done before the first kill, so that people aren't trying to pump doubly. You know,
they've actually been really good at that, because before when it didn't matter if you killed like on Alar, the big bird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before they made the changes, it didn't matter if you did damage to those guys, right? So they took it out of the parses, which was cool. And then like we had our logs validated on the annoying head boss in BT that has 3 stages.
ROS, yeah.
Yeah. And so we had a warlock and a healer go together to like try and cheese the parses. So he was tapping during the little ad phase, and
dirty cheesers.
That person was healing,
right?
And it invalidated our logs. But it's cool that like they're trying to do that to make it to make it so logs only count for what you're doing
Like
to actually
realistic
help the
things
raid.
that you can
you know?
do, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
mean, you
think that-
can't stop somebody from not moving out of something because they want to just keep casting. Like that
Sure.
just is on them. But they're doing everything it seems like they can to make it a better experience for everybody.
Yeah, I think Kira does a great job. They get a lot of flack for a lot of stuff, but overall, they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
it's a hard job.
I've never put too much stock into Warcraft logs because I've always been a healer. So
Yeah, as a
I
healer,
look
it's
at them and I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's sometimes where, yeah, like I'll get a good parse, but it's completely dependent on what happens to the.
Usually, as a healer,
DPS
if your parse is good, then the fight went poorly. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of healing to be done, and so that's not the optimal way to play. So
Right. And like, if I'm over healing, like, okay, that's not helpful. I'm just wasting mana. But yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, what?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you had something else.
That guy Mitos, who's the Apes GM, has a great clip of him just screaming about how healer parses don't matter, and I always refer to that when everybody asks about it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
And it's a bummer for them too, because it's so hard to gauge at what they're doing. And like honestly, when I see really high healer parses, I'm like, what did you cheese?
What went wrong or what did
Wait till Sunwell,
what-
and we'll see
what did you
if
choose?
you believe that. We'll see.
All right. Well, favorite expansion.
I mean, I only played these two really. I think vanilla is probably my jam, though. I love TBC. But vanilla just has so much. Just so much in it.
Dude, I want to
don't know.
talk to you after Wrath, because Wrath's my number 1, Vanilla's my number 2, TBC's my
Okay.
number 3. Wrath is a good freaking time, dude. So
Yeah, I mean, I
Looking
don't
forward
love eye
for ya.
level. I don't love how a lot of the gear looks the same. I don't love a lot about Wrath. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to give it my all, but TBC's been great, and vanilla was amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, and last for these, Alliance or Horde, man.
Alliance, yeah, we've been
The
Alliance for
Alliance.
forever.
Woo-hoo.
I think I
Listen,
leveled
you
up.
know how many Alliance guests we've had on? Like 3. Everybody that comes on here is Horde.
Yeah,
which
wait
is-
till Wrath when everyone's human. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yep, I've been human the entire time, just waiting, and now everybody's
Nice.
gonna get to. They're gonna throw in faction change. I'm just be like,
100%.
We'll see. Yeah, yeah, posers.
Do you PvP at all?
I do. I'm not great at it. I've hit 2K every season, but just barely.
nice. I mean, that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not glad or anything, but it's okay.
Yeah, but the amount of people that hit glad are usually like just the pros and all of their alts. And the people that they boost. You know, I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's fun, and Priest is a lot of fun in Arena. I got to rank 10, I think, on the Priest in vanilla. I wasn't really interested in the GM grind, especially as a healer.
The insane
and
grind
as a-
that you would
and as
have
a
to do? No.
Yeah, I'm just a human in the world, and I can't literally do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think anybody that did do that in vanilla killed themselves and does not play anymore.
Yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
you're doing better than me. The highest I've gotten is like 1600s for all of TBC. I also
we gotta
play with
work on
just
that.
friends, but
Hit
like,
me
Listen,
up.
I give up.
We can do twos. Hit me up. I'm down.
oh, nice, yeah,
We're on the same
we're
server.
on the same server.
yeah.
Nice, nice.
I'm gonna yell at you, and it'll change our relationship. But hit me up.
We might never have Joardee back on the podcast after their
If you don't
choose
sap that guy, I'm gonna lose my shit. Don't line of sight me.
I
I'll
love
kill you.
it. Oh, Since I feel in Overwatch, which is recently in my mind, is the same thing in WoW where they like run around a pillar and they're like, "Why aren't you healing me?" And I'm like, "'Cause
Fucking
I'm on
heal
the
me. Yeah. I
freaking
literally
like
can't.
arena. I can't see you." And it's the same thing with WoW and Mercy where I'm like trying to fly to somebody and they go behind a pillar and I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hard thing to learn because DPS you get so tunnel visioned. Like I'm not as
Sure.
bad on my rogue, but on my warrior, I'm like
Zug.
it reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Like I talked about it with someone recently, but like the scene from the replacements where what's his name? Who's revamped Star Wars? God dang it, I can't remember his name. He's from Swingers, but he's in there and he's like the kind of dumb guy, and the guy's like, "Give me the ball." He's like, "I'll get you the ball. I'll get you the ball." You know, that's me as a warrior. I'm just like point me in a direction, and I'm like on him, but like I'm so tunnel visioned. It's bad.
Initially in TBC, when Arena came out, we were doing 5s. And it was like everybody was brand new to it, right? It was fine. But it'd be like, "Hey, they've got a shaman. Let's play it slow. Don't go into their totems." And then all of a sudden the warrior just pew, like totally
That'll happen.
charges into their totems. And you're like, "What happened, guys? Why did I die?" And I'm wondering, I don't know. It's my fault. My bad. Totally.
All right, well, let's move into streaming. So you said you just started streaming fairly recently. Like, when did you start, and like, what do your streams generally consist of?
I started I just was like recording my gameplay for a while, and then I kind of started in January or February maybe, and then just recently it's kind of been exploding, which has been really cool.
That's awesome.
With Sunwell and stuff. Yeah. And so, you know, it's just like speed runs and raids and talking about strategy. And I think people come to me to talk about like optimizing their raids and stuff. And
so you're a pretty big talker. Like you're a question answer type of stream.
Yeah, I'll answer questions. Sure. I still think I'm kind of figuring out what I am, if I'm being honest with you. So
fair.
It's a lot of
it's weird,
a lot of growth
right?
lately. So yeah, totally. I've just started doing the YouTube stuff, and it's been cool. So
yeah, I didn't really stream regularly until the hardcore challenge, and I only was like, I was always very uncomfortable doing it, but the hardcore challenge, I was like, I want every second of this documented. No one will tell me that I cheated or did anything wrong. I'm doing this. And then it turned into a cheat. Like, I mean, you know a ton, but like me, I got taught so much shit from chat. Like chat would be like, "Hey, you know, you can get this weapon from that person right there." And I was like, well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You know, and just like so many things. And they'd be like, "Bob, do not do this quest. Do not do it. I've seen so many hardcores die." I'm like, are you sure? I think I could do it.
It helps for sure. I mean, a lot of brains can help you fix an issue.
Yeah.
And hardcore, cool. You don't know what you don't know, and people do. So
yeah, it was definitely cool. But like, what's one of your favorite parts of streaming?
Gosh, I don't know.
How long have you been streaming?
Just a few months, 5-ish months.
Since he said since January or February.
Like I've been streaming longer than that, but I haven't really been like trying for
like the random stream here and there.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is like being able to like help people. Like with Sunwell, like not a lot of people have gotten on there, and I've been doing it a lot. So being able to help people with that has been really cool, and hoping, because I think that the game will be better if we're all prepared, and I'm not trying to like hide all of our stuff, right? And so we did a lot of work, and being able to share that with people in a transparent way has been fun. So,
which is cool because a lot of guilds will stop people from doing that. I know there's a lot of people. I mean, Salve Dally was one of them. He came out and talked about it at the very end of Classic with Onslaught, and how they weren't allowed to stream PTRs and everything. And
now he's in progress, not streaming PTRs. Yeah.
And he hated that, you know. And so like, it is like it is neat to allow streamers to do that because I think it makes your guild more popular.
But
I
honestly, it
think it's
makes
a
the
cool thing.
community more popular too, right? Like I think, like you were saying, Joardee, is that not only does it give visibility to your guild and you, but it also helps other people be able to complete the content so people continue to play the game,
Yeah.
right?
And I
that's
think
Which
that's
is a huge thing.
huge.
I think that that's something that I'm really hoping that I'm able to do is like, I think Sunwell's going to be a punch in the face for a lot of people. And if there's a little bit of a warning that, you know, look, this is going to be like this, just be prepared. There'll be less people that are like, fuck this, I'm out. And that's not good for anybody. Right.
Right.
And so yeah.
Yeah. The less people we have subscribed to the game, the less that Blizzard is likely to put any effort into the game. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And we're about to go into Wrath. And I know that they're going to expect some sort of decrease. But if they see like a fallout, they're going to be like, okay, just forget, like, just release whatever you got there with Wrath. Like, let's not put too much effort into it.
Dude, I think Wrath
And
is going to be huge. I think there's a ton of people coming back for Wrath.
Correct. And I think that they have got the initial stuff of Wrath, right? But I think if they see a massive decline in subscribers in Classic due to Sunwell, they're going to relate that to let's push Wrath earlier. Let's get Wrath out no matter what.
I see what you're saying.
If it's ready or not, right? Like we need to get this going. And I think everybody being successful is more beneficial to everybody. Now, everybody being successful to an extent that we're not like nerfing the content so that everybody can just roll through it, right? Like I don't want that, but I want the resources out there for the people that want to put in the work and want to be successful to be able to find and say, okay, this is what we need. This is how we need to do it. And I think that that's amazing. And I think the earlier they get that, the better. And so I love what you're doing, Joardee. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, of course. I mean, thank you guys for having me. It's been a blast meeting you and talking to your people, and I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it's been a blast for us too. But we're not done.
I'm not. It wasn't an outro.
I still want to know, like, did you stream at all prior to Classic?
No. Nope. Definitely not. I was gaming on a laptop occasionally. That was it. Or on my Xbox in the background there. But that's it. Now I have like a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that was me too.
Dude.
I wasn't gaming at all during any time in between when I quit. Like I did like Mario Party.
No,
yeah.
you
Which
did
is
the Mad League, guys. Which was a pretty big deal.
Okay,
for
Mario
us
Party
for
and Madden.
Yeah, I used to run like a Madden League.
Okay.
Or like it started out before it was online. It started out just like 15 friends. They'd come over to my house and they'd play their game every week, and we were like in an actual franchise.
That sounds fun. Yeah,
it was a ball, dude.
Yeah,
and then we went online and we had like 20 people. There were still a few CPU teams, controlled, but like you just play your games on online. It was a good time, but
yeah,
it's a story for another day. But you gamed quite a bit still, Mel. I don't know how you forget these things.
Not computer gaming.
No, not computer gaming. Yeah, true.
Okay.
All right, so you talked about your YouTube a bit, and like I've checked it out. I actually, before I even knew about you, I had watched some of your videos. It seems like you're finding your way.
It's working.
Yeah,
it's working.
Yeah. Seems like you're getting into the content you want to make. Like, so tell me about the content you're making now and what we could look forward to the future, possibly.
Yeah. So I did a lot of it was just like I'll post the VOD of our speed runs and stuff. And then for phase 3, I did like a loot prio video about Black Temple. For just kind of among a lot of the people in my guild that understand loot, and we were just like, here, this should go here, this should go here, and that kind of did pretty well. And then I started streaming more. Things were going okay. I was getting like 30, 50 people occasionally at a time. It was going pretty well. And then Sunwell came out and things exploded. Like I think I peaked on that first day of Sunwell at like 1,700 people, which is just bonkers.
Hard to keep up with at that point, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like chat was moving faster than I could see, and it was insane. And so yeah, I've just been trying to ride that wave. I did a first impressions video about Sunwell. We just came out with a loot prio video for phase 5, which is getting totally reamed in the comments, which is a classic situation. And I'm going to be doing boss guides soon. And then I'm working on a series about TBC speedrunning and like the strategies that we used and like the different things that you do differently in a speed run than you would in a normal run and why. And then kind of like the major events, like the first SSC sub hour, the first BT sub hour, stuff like that. And right now I'm working on the phase 1 video, which is actually a lot more interesting than people I think remember about phase 1 speedrunning. Groll Mag and Malgar, which are kind of unique bosses for speedrunning because it wasn't like a clock didn't start when you did the first pull like you normally would. It was just like the aggregate of your time between those 3 bosses was your score. And so it's kind of unique challenges. So that'll come out eventually. That one I'm having like a real editor help me with, so it'll be good instead of just like video.
Listen, don't let him undersell himself. He's got like 47K views on his Sunwell first impression.
Yeah, that video's blown up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, things are going okay. I'm gonna keep riding it and see where it goes. And but I've got my day job and I love my day job, and so yeah, things are going well.
Do you mind us asking you about your day job?
I work in the entertainment industry. I write TV, so it's it's a very involved day job sometimes. So so I don't have a lot of time lately. It's been good and bad.
Oh, wow.
Goes up and down.
Anything we've heard?
I can't. I don't want to get into it.
We can't mix.
Okay.
You're like me. Like you don't want to cross streams, right? Like they're separate things.
Gotcha. I worked in. I was in LA 2005 and 2006, like right before. Like basically, that's where I started. WoW. I was in LA. I worked for Weed Road Productions on the Warner Brothers lot for
cool.
Goldsman.
Nice. Yeah. Love him.
Got to do.
Dude's a legend.
Yeah, I got to do a lot of cool stuff. Got to meet, a lot of people. Angelina Jolie,
totally,
Jennifer Aniston, like a lot of different people, and got to work there.
He only names the 2 like beautiful actresses that he got to meet.
I got to meet a ton of people. I got to meet a ton of people.
Akiva Goldsman was the first one, so that's.
Oh yeah,
that's who he worked for. I don't know.
Yeah, well, but I mean, like, lots of people aren't even gonna know that name, even though they don't even realize how many movies they've seen that he's behind. So, but so I know the LA life a little bit. I gave my chance there. I didn't try any writing. I was trying to direct or produce and. Like I gave it a shot, but one of my friends made it. He got to write and direct Saw 2 and direct Saw 3 and 4. Darren Balsman. Yeah,
nice, very cool.
Went to high school with him.
Nice. That dude's rich.
He blew up like right when I left LA.
That's great. Like, good for him.
I just stuck around for just a little bit, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's been a fun journey. I don't know. I've been having a blast. I've been really lucky to work on some cool stuff. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that kind of ends us out. Do you have any final thoughts you want to throw in? Anything about whatever Wrath, TBC,
No.
Sunwell?
Just thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I think we covered it pretty good. I'm gonna start us in the outro. So, everybody, do not forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can also follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. We love to hear from you. If it's something that can't be sent in tweet form, send your emails to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the Mash Those Buttons Discord and interact with hosts of this show or any hosts on any show on the network, that's mash.gg/discord. How can you help the podcast? Ratings and reviews help us a ton on iTunes. You can rate us on Spotify. You can leave a review also on warcraftradio.com/directory. But the best way is to tell your guild. Tell them about the pod. Scream it out at Walmart. Maybe somebody Googles us, just help us out any way you can by spreading the word. As far as Patreon and stuff goes, we might be going through some changes on that stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it right now, but we might be having some changes coming in soon, but we'll just have to see. We're talking about it now internally, so stay tuned for what might be to come. All right, Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mel Overwatch. I just recently figured out how to switch my thing, so I might switch it, but it's a lot of work.
Any ideas on names? Oh, I guess you can't say it because someone will take it.
Yeah.
Well, send your name ideas to Mel.
Oh God, please no.
Because her Mel Overwatch just doesn't fit with her now doing, podcasts about WoW instead of Overwatch. So
fine.
All right, and Joardee, where can we find you? I'll have all the links for them in the show notes, but tell us where all we can find you.
Yeah, I stream at twitch.tv/Joardee, JOARDEE, 2 E's.
Yep.
And same as my YouTube. So yeah.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me streaming fairly regularly, at least to our raids and different things, at twitch.tv/blazin_Bob. All right, man. Good episode, guys. Another one in the books. Episode 95, getting close to 100.
No,
I should have waited 5. Why did I?
All right.
Sold yourself short there.
Well, we will see you guys next week.
Bye.